Another week, another scandal. Twitch is finally trying to solve one of the biggest problems that is on the platform. There is so much to discuss today, but before we get into it, welcome to the stream room, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Nicktacular.
Hello, I'm Eljay.
And I am Reapz. How we all going, boys?
I'd say 7.3 out of 10.
That's a pretty
7.3?
big, that's high for early in the morning. Well, early I say, but it's like 10 something.
Not an 8 out of 10, LJ?
No, not an 8 out of 10 today. Not an 8 out of 10. I haven't woken up, with a raging erection and a will to live, so it's not an 8 out of 10. I'm instead,
Is that how we're
just
supposed to be waking up, with a raging erection and a will to live?
Okay. Well, you're a bit older than me, so you might need help.
Yeah.
But,
Unbelievable. I'll have you know, sir, that they are my new sponsor, Viagra. Continuing on.
you need little blue pills? Well, what about little purple pills?
You want a
Twitch Viagra
TP in your bed?
Anyway, guys, welcome to the Stream Room podcast.
Yes.
I got to throw it out there. If you want, comment. Please, for the love of God, comment, like, do your thing. I appreciate it. We read them all, like them all. And I'll be real with you. We haven't had enough questions lately, and I feel sad.
Yep. All sad. We're all sad here. We realized that previously that we have had those kind of podcasts that were stored because we were away for certain times and we didn't get to them as quickly as possible. So please know that we're back. We'll get to them as soon as we can. But I think we're going to start off with a question of the week. Make it more illustrious. One question that we deep dive into from one of you out there. So if you want to be one of the lucky ones, please put the questions below and we will deep dive into it at the end of the pod.
Yes.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Sounds
I asked a question. I asked a question last night because you guys, I think I've told you guys about this before, but I aggressively are posting polls, gaming related polls every day on the Eljayem channel.
Okay.
And 10 hours ago, I said, who is the better game protagonist, Mario or Sonic? The battle of the ages.
Okay.
What do you guys? What do you guys think? Who do you think's winning?
Mario. I think there's more Nintendo fanboys than Sega fanboys.
I do have to agree, Mario.
You guys don't think the old Sonic fanboys is just rabid? Like, they've been hard done by. Sonic fanboys are a little bit...
Yeah, they're just in the minority, though. You know what I mean? Like, when has there been? I guess it's all kind of opinionated, but when's there been the last good Sonic game that everyone's been like, yeah, Sonic is back and better than ever? It's been a while.
Weirdly, I think it was that fan. There's some fans made a game, and then the Sega was like, "Fuck it," and they came and like bought them, and they bought the fan game and gave them the funding, and it was like really good. I think it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was like the side-scrolling platformer, right? Like they went
like
to the
OG.
original.
They returned. Yeah, they returned to like the OG feeling.
Yeah. Well, see, according to that logic, Reapz, that if anything, they'd be more out in troves to answer this poll, being like, no, he's good. Trust me, the game sucked recently, but he's the better one.
There's a Discord that they like, we finally got the poll. Everybody come over here, make sure that Sonic wins. Spread the good word.
Funnily enough, 420 votes in the last couple hours. 70% of them are for Mario and 30% are for Sonic. But every single comment is just like jerking Sonic off. It's like what? Some plumber who can jump high? Well, what about a guy who can move at the speed of sound?
A hedgehog, not even a person.
Yeah,
an animal
with cool shoes and chili dogs.
And his friend Tails in tow. Yeah.
Oh no! They don't. They never bring up Tails. If they bring up Tails, they know they're losing the argument.
Real losing battle.
Wow. I thought
Didn't
Tails
they,
was
make
beloved.
his shoes? Didn't like a big shoe brand like make Sonic's shoes as an actual shoe you could buy?
Man, they've tried to scam money out of every Sonic fan every way they can.
Yeah.
They try to make him a furry. They tried to make it so you could make your own Sonic and Sonic Forces. All of them worked, weirdly.
Right.
And it's just like, it just made the Sonic fans...
Rabid.
Look, I love you guys, but you're weird.
LJ's not speaking on our behalf. Please know this is LJ's thing.
Found the Sonic fan in the Stream Room podcast. I bet Reapz has his own giant life-size echidna body pillow.
Well, maybe I do. What's wrong with it? Maybe I told people about the poll and they didn't come out in troves. Sonic Frontiers is the next game, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's the game that they're all waiting for.
Yeah,
what's really embarrassing?
waiting for is a bit of an overstatement.
I looked at Sonic Frontiers' like tech trailer like a few weeks ago when they first dropped that tech trailer, and I thought, damn, this is really early access, but it's clearly like kind of cool. Like they're trying to do something and like looks kind of fun. Maybe if they build this out a bit, it could be kind of similar to Arceus, where you break the mold and it comes out really good. And then I read all the comments. I have not heard a single other person have a positive opinion about it. Even Sonic fans are angry, and I'm like, oh god, am I the freak? Am I the freak?
Everyone
no, they
was
need to
not
try
happy.
something new. They have to.
No, they don't need to try something new. What do you? That's all Sonic does. They made him a werewolf. They made him a knight. At one point, I'm pretty sure he turned into a vampire.
I'm talking gameplay, right? Like you can do side-scroller platforms.
It was all different.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But if you do side-scroller platforms, nobody's playing side-scroller platforms in majority anymore, right? And they know that Sonic is definitely like a Sega type of like, this is our head honcho thing, right? And if they keep going, okay, we'll just keep making side-scrollers, they're never going to actually compete against Mario or keep it, I guess, in the public eye. So they do, I think that's a strategy. They put out a game where they try all this new stuff, right? And people go, it sucks. And then on the next cycle, they just do a side-scroll and like, we've made you happy again. And they're like, great, you've got our trust back. And then they go, but the next game, open world Sonic Frontiers, right? So they just keep trying to loop you back in. It's like this like really abusive relationship when it comes to Sonic.
Well, Nintendo was on this like open world kick after Breath of the Wild. They're like, we're gonna do everything Breath of the like open world and open world esque. So they're like, you know, Kirby the Forgotten Realm came out, which is not really open world, but you know, you get a bit of free reign on the levels. Then you got Arceus that came out, and now it's like, and then you know, just Sonic out of nowhere is like, yeah, we're gonna do it too.
Yes, exactly.
So the thing though is that Nintendo did it really well. Like, is it weird that like I feel like open world games are one of the most overdone things ever, right? Yeah. And I feel like 99% of open world games have either two massive flaws, right? The world is either incredibly empty,
yes,
or the world doesn't give you very good game direction, right? And some people who are rabid fans like to be like, excuse me, open world is like meant to be that there's no game direction. It shouldn't tell you where to go. It's open world. And it's like, yeah, okay, I agree to an extent, but you're clearly underestimating game design, right?
Yes.
Like the thing about Breath of the Wild is you spawn in, you do your little tutorial, the whole world opens up, you see something in the distance, you can go to it, that's fine. But they've designed it in a way that like you're probably either going to go straight to Hyrule Castle or to one of the four beasts without knowing they're the beasts, right?
Yep.
Because of the way the landmarks are and stuff.
Yes.
Or the quest system works, right?
Yep.
Whereas I personally struggled with Elden Ring because I think their quest system, like where it was like follow this gold line, was just absolute trash, right? like a hot take about Elden Ring, amazing game, world is packed full of things to find, stuff like that. Let's ignore all the technical issues when it's opened, when it first started. But instead, like, just from an open world perspective, I do think the game design on that was a little bit kind of bad.
Right.
Like, and I spoke to people about this. I was like, yeah, you know, I played Dark Souls and all these things, and I loved the boss rush, the linear boss rush and all those things. Elden Ring was really fun. There's lots of stuff to find. I really liked it. But a crucial thing for me when it comes to open world games is I never want to be sat there thinking to myself, am I making progress right now? And all Elden Ring did was make me go, am I making progress right now? Like, I went to this big southern peninsula and I was clearing out every boss I could find. I was leveling up and I was doing stuff. And then I was like, oh, you never once need to come to this whole southern peninsula. Everything I've just done is fully optional. Like, I was supposed to be running around this castle doing all these other things. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that's kind of fun. But it left me for so long being like, am I making progress? And I'm going to get flamed for that. But I think that shows that, you know, it's kind of a bit...
I think you're right in terms of when it comes to open world, I think there's two big examples, right? There's your GTAs and there's your Minecrafts. Minecraft is basically, here's a crazy open world. Like, it's limitless. You can't even put it, you know, can't even fathom how large it is. And you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? You can make things, you can build things, you make your own adventure, right? You explore, like yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to GTA, which is very much, as you said, driven to do kind of main story quests, side quests, and then you go into GTA and 90% of the buildings you can't go into if you just want to go exploring, you just want to go in a helicopter and fly around and kill random people. It really comes down to the fact of what are you looking for in an open world game? If it is like Elden Ring, I have never played it, so I can't comment. I will play it in the future, but just for now, don't have the time. If it is oriented to be like, I want to know where I need to go to actually enhance the story, rather further the story, yeah, I would hope that there's some good markers or indicators of where I need to do. But
which the gold things don't work.
Oh, really?
And it's like, and even the hardest core of fans will admit that, right? They won't admit that during a conversation while you're criticizing it. They'll defend it hardcore. But if you go and actually read through like their subreddits or their forums or like the comments or like anything like that, they'll all be like, oh yeah, just ignore the gold things. The gold quest stuff, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't help you. It's confusing, blah, 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 blah. Don't do any of that.
Right.
And it's like, okay, then sure. But then if you said, oh yeah, I feel like the game direction sometimes you feel a bit lost, and in a giant open world like that, the big thing about Elden Ring as well is that you can't just like look around and be like, oh, I can see that thing in the distance. I 100% know that I need to go to that thing, or like I want to go to that thing, because like, for example, when I was on this southern peninsula, I was on the right-hand side of it and I wanted to go to the left-hand side of it, right? It took me so bloody long to find a way to the left-hand side of it, because there was two paths, I believe. One was like this bridge, but the bridge was like kind of on a lower cliff to the top cliff. And then a ravine ran right way all the way through it. And if you fall into the ravine just leads you back up to the right-hand side. And so I spent so long running around and stuff like that and blah, blah, blah. Finally find the bridge, go across it. And I take like a right-hand turn once I'm across the bridge, you follow a pathway, and I'm back on the right-hand side. And then, like, it's just like, and it's fine, don't get me wrong, right? But it's just like, it's not the same as like, you know, I hate talking about Breath of the Wild, because if you talk about Breath of the Wild, people just decide they want to on it, despite the fact that it's a giant, aggressively popular game for a reason, right? Like, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I want to go to Death Mountain. There's going to be stuff in my path, but I'll always be able to find my way exactly where I want to go, and it won't feel frustrating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I think Elden Ring, sometimes it's like, okay, so I want to go do X, but I don't know really where I'm supposed to go. And it's kind of frustrating to maneuver through these paths. And did I really make any progress, you know, for these last 4 hours that I've been playing? Or like, I really want to do X. Oh, now I've been teleported to this other side of the map, which is kind of cool and it's kind of fun. But at the same time, it's like,
you didn't really want to be there.
Yeah, it's like, is this, am I making progress doing this either? Like,
yeah,
you know, and people will be like, well, it's the point of open world. And it's like, yeah, that's fair. But yes. I think it's also a decent criticism that as gamers, we all want different things.
Yes.
You know, like I get on because I say that I didn't like Hades because there was too little story per victory. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like, people are like, well, you don't play roguelikes for the story. It's like, well,
you can. I mean, it's up to me what I play it for. If you're giving me
story, I want more of it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, why be like, oh, because it's a roguelike, you can only have mechanics rather than story. It's like that, you know, that El Paso, why not both? And everyone's happy and rejoices.
Yeah. So, no, I don't know. That's a weird little tangent there talking about open world games. But, like, I personally just found that, like, with Elden Ring, it didn't really appeal to me for that. I probably could have looked over all of that and not cared if the game hadn't released with such huge PC technical bugs.
Yeah.
Right? And anyone who wants to deny that it did release like that, then you're one of the lucky ones. Because like, if you read anything, it's like patch after patch after patch. Oh, we've improved stability. Hey guys, GPUs work with the game now.
The thing that made the games, yeah, it's working now. I'm glad that I waited so long to try it. So like, I won't be trying it for another little bit. So I'm glad that it will at least be more stable.
If you can, get it on console. Yeah, don't get it on PC. I picked it up and tried to open it again the other day, and it's still a little juddery.
That's not good.
Yeah, like I had to do all sorts of things to try and get it to be like even playable on stream. Like for example, I thought if I lower all my settings down to nothing, it'll play really well. So I lowered all my settings down on it, and I didn't know at the time it wasn't utilizing my GPU properly. So I lowered everything down, and it was like, oh, okay, we're running entirely on your CPU, and we're turning your GPU off. And I was like, what the f***? Why is it running worse now when I've lowered all my settings? So then I read someone said, oh yeah, pump all your settings up, and it'll like tell your GPU to start working. So I pumped all my settings up, and my GPU was like, oh, okay, I'll help run now. Still stuttered, but it was like better because it would woken up. It was so weird. And people were like telling me like, open game dev files and edit something. I'm like, I'm not going to edit my game files so I can...
I do all this stuff. I do have to get on PC because I owe my community to play Elden Ring on the flight stick. So I need to do at least one stream on the flight stick. So
Elden Ring on a flight stick. You're just wanting to like hate life a bit more.
Yeah, well, they pushed for the dono goals for the charity stream.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I was like, it's for charity, and then they're like, we want to put you through hell. So
I don't think it'll be that hard.
Really?
I actually think you'll be fine. The thing about Elden Ring is that you can pretty much just do spirit summons and you will be able to walk through most of what you deal with.
The only thing summons like bringing another person into the game?
No. So that's different. So that's still balanced because if you summon someone into your game, all the bosses and stuff will have extra health.
Okay.
So like if you summon 2 people to help you with Malenia has like a bunch of extra health, right? But spirit summons are like these little like spirit bell things that you can summon along, right? And there are some really OP ones. But like essentially, if you're smart about it and you go, okay, this character is weak to bleeds, I'm going to summon my 3 wolves and I'm going to equip a bleed weapon, you just stack bleeds and you can just chunk people down in seconds. And like, it's not like you have to control spirits. You just press a button and the boss is like, there's 4 things attacking me.
I love the boss's voice. My goodness, what is happening?
Dude, that is 100% Godric. Godric walks around.
Really?
At what point do
Hello
we
there,
do...
Tarnished.
At what point do we do like an abridged version of something? We just narrate an abridged version of something, all 3 of us.
Dude, okay, if we're talking abridged with Elden Ring, it fucking needs it. Like, you need to read every single weapon, every single drop to understand that game. And some of the quests, by the way, oh yeah, okay, so do X, do XYZ. Oh, nothing happened? That's because you have to go to this very specific bonfire and sit down here now, stand back up, go talk to that person, go to this other bonfire specifically, sit on this one only. And it's like, how do people figure this shit out?
I don't get it. I don't know how they do that type of stuff. There's so many, like, you know, when you find out those like crazy Easter eggs in games, like I think the craziest one is in like Battlefield, one of the previous ones. And you've got to do like 50,000 things in a multiplayer game before the game ends to activate whatever it is. I'm like, how do you even go about this?
Is it the Megalodon?
Yeah, I think it may be the Megalodon. I don't know. I remember watching
there's a few
ages
steps
back.
involved.
Yeah.
I will say though, the really fun thing about that, like I used to be like really into Battlefield before it got terrible. Basically, when that came out, it was amazing seeing an entire server collectively work together to try and make this thing happen. So like you just had everyone, like even though you're in this massive multiplayer map, everyone was just like, we want to see the big shark, and they're all working together to just get it working. It was awesome. But then after a month, people stopped caring, and then as just went back to normal. But
these days, people stop playing Battlefield games after a day.
Yeah, that's it.
They don't stop trying to do the Easter egg. They just stop entirely.
Yeah. Speaking of games, though, what were you boys playing this week? How was your weeks in content creation and streaming?
Oh, that's a good one.
Not bad.
Yeah. What'd you get up to?
I played Minecraft yesterday.
How was it?
It was good. It was really good, actually. I did a daytime stream because I'm moving, as I said, entirely to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Last week I mentioned I'm moving Monday, Wednesday, Friday daytime streams. No more night times for me because it's just healthier. Like I'm going to bed before midnight, waking up at 8 every morning, feeling fresh.
Nice, right? Yeah.
I feel human, I feel really, really human. And so no, I did about an hour and 15, hour 20 of just chatting where we just hung out, talked some shit, stuff like that. And then we jumped into playing some hardcore Minecraft. And I think it was like, I think people care about the average. I think I'd be interested to hear about the stats. So I will say during the just chatting, when there was still some sort of streaming questions asked, a little bit of back and forth, there was about 130 average we got up to. And then once we were at about 130, I was like, cool, if I switch to Minecraft, I'll probably lose about 30 people. And I can feel comfortable with that. So we switched over to hardcore Minecraft. And yeah, we held about 95, 98 for the rest of the stream.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which I'm really happy with for a whole brand new time slot. You know what I mean?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so we switched over, and I think I averaged like 95, 98 average overall, about 320 unique chatters, which I'm really happy with. That shows that I'm getting a lot of people coming in, which means, the more I'm consistent in this schedule, more they kind of get into the feel, and maybe I'll be able to keep them as returning viewers.
Yep.
And we had, what was the other one I was going to say? 61 new follows, which is sick, which is really, really good. And I look at 61 follows as... intent, not from the total number, is more of like, okay, we had 61 follow me during a daytime slot, which means there's a high chance that I can get those people to keep coming back if I'm consistent in those slots, if I'm consistent with that game. So for example, I'm going to stick to a Minecraft playthrough for a while now, build people up with my just chatting and stuff again. And then once the Minecraft hardcore series ends, I'm going to start a hardcore series in a similar game, which I'm thinking Raft.
I like it.
And I might do like a solo Iron Man Raft playthrough. Because I just think it's, I think it's just, I need to get into the flow of that consistency, and go from there. So that'll be good. But I'm doing a collab with you tomorrow, Reapzy.
Yes, we're doing Mario Party.
Let's go.
Yes. Yeah.
Doing Superstar with Micromads and Alex Lynn.
What time are you guys doing
Should be
it?
good. Morning. I think it's like 10:30. We're jumping in a call, but
Yeah, something like that.
Excellent.
It'll be good.
We'll have to double check. I'll message everyone in the thing and organize it. But we're doing, we should be excited. I'm pretty excited for that, to be honest, because I think it's just fun, easy, chill content, you know?
Definitely.
And I get to split your audio off, and then I can make a video of you guys getting stomped again.
Again? Question mark.
I mean, don't pretend I didn't stomp you last time.
There's some
First of
stakes on
all-
this Mario Party.
I was attacked. There probably are stakes. I think we're saying
There
it's
will
either going
be,
to be
I think.
emotes or a tweet or something.
We're going to either say that the 3 people who come in first, second, and third get to write a tweet for the loser, or it's going to be the 3 of us get to pick an emote, and the loser has to upload it to their BTTV.
Yeah.
Love it.
Or 3 emotes. 3 emotes, I think it is, which should be pretty fun. But
One
no, that
for
was me.
each.
I'm
Yeah.
doing pretty good. You know, I've got an SSN video fully finished and uploaded, unlisted. I've been doing all these polls. The new YouTube channel's going really well. I feel better about these daytime streams, and it's good. It's pretty decent. Although, boys, I will say, I had a couple kids come into stream yesterday, and I think I was just feeling quite relaxed, but probably a little too relaxed.
Oh, no,
gosh.
yeah. I know
Here we
exactly
go.
where you're going with this. I was going to bring this up too.
Because okay, so I had a few kids drop by, and I was kind of like half focusing on something.
Yeah.
And one of the kids was being a bit annoying, and I tend to give them a little bit of like leeway before I get rid of them, just to see if they're able to catch the vibe and settle in. Or you just stop reading their messages, and if you stop reading their messages, they eventually like
Go away.
just leave, right? And you don't have to set a scene, because obviously I don't have any mods for daytime. And one of them I think was really funny. He kind of like he wrote 3, 2, 1 something 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 in like 4 or 5 different messages, all in about 30 seconds. And I was like, "Hey, Chatter's username. I know we don't have like a slow mode on or anything like that, but I'll be real, man. The entire chat doesn't have to be your name." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And then another one, I was kind of like half focusing because it's hardcore, right? So I don't want to die in my first cave run that I'm running in. And this kid had been talking a decent amount, and he brought up my view count. And I was going to be like, "Hey, man, stop talking about view count." And so I said, "Hey, Chatter." And I'm like focusing on skeletons. And I go, "It'd be good if you could just like," and I'm like, they're still running away from skeletons. So I keep pausing and I go, "Stop talking." That's it. And I'm like, I start laughing.
Talking, not even typing, not even text, just stop talking.
But I had to like clarify and be like, about view count. You know, I'm laughing my ass off because I'm just telling this chatter just to stop talking. You know, but it's fine. I find that sometimes to like, you have to lift chat literacy by kind of being a bit more of a roast to people like that, because they kind of also learn from it.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of the time you ban someone for spamming, they're like, why did I get banned? I did the exact same thing in XQC's chat, and why would I be banned? I don't understand it. Whereas when you say like, I don't need to see your name 8 times in 10 seconds, they'll go, "Oh."
What? Sure you do.
But how about you, Reapsy? What'd you get up to?
Oh, that's a good question. What did I get up to? I played some Mortuary Assistant. Yes, I've been playing the Mortuary Assistant. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a horror game. You can get different endings. So I'm currently going through the different endings right now. So I've done that for the past 2 streams. Had a great time. Had a bloody good old time. Love a bit of spooks. So that's what I have been basically playing. But in the back of my brain, I'm like, after this game, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to play. Because it really does come down to the fact that there's just no new games that have kind of like driven me to do it. So I think I'm going to have to go through my library of games and go, what do I feel will get like me intrigued, my audience intrigued, and other people intrigued. But yeah, this week has basically just been a lot of planning, things like that, behind the scenes things, which I'm excited for. And obviously with Mario Party tomorrow, that's a great thing to do. So I'm excited to kind of do that. I've heard that there's new Mario Kart tracks out, the new DLC. So I think I may do a stream of that to do like a community day. So yeah, how about yourself, Nick?
Very nice. So playing with dead bodies is fun, confirmed.
Honestly, I would take it up as a job.
Reap's has
I get to see
left something out here.
Well, what?
I'm upset. I'm interrupting because I'm upset.
Oh no.
Reapz, you've left something out here that is very important that you need to say. Wow, Eljay, you're a genius, and I thank you so much.
Well, Jay, you're a genius, and I thank you so very much.
Because I told you to go sit on a toilet, didn't I? And you fucking loved it.
Sit on
Toilet Chronicles?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. Yes. I played Toilet Chronicles.
How good is is it?
It is amazing. I'm waiting for part 2 because it says part 1 in the actual like name of it, but it is like this weird mix of just fantasy, little bit of horror, not so much, puzzle solving, and just absurd humor.
Yep.
That it's just really fun to play. It's really good. I'm glad you gave it to me because
I'm
I was
glad
like,
you reminded
yes.
me because I was like, I looked
Yeah.
at that and I'm like, this is absurd and I need to try this.
Hot take.
Yeah.
You got carried so fucking hard by your chat.
Chance. No
Dude,
chance I get carried.
Your chat leaked like 4 of the biggest fucking things that is like tucked away to make the game actually difficult.
I didn't listen to them. I don't listen to my chat.
Yes, you did.
I don't
You looked
listen to
over
them.
at one point. You looked over at one
Okay,
point
here we
and
go.
read out a chatter's message and said, "Oh, that really special number that is in that I need for the code is in that location that I have not been paying attention to whatsoever."
I don't remember this
Awesome.
bit. I don't remember.
I don't wanna-
I've
I
said
don't
to
wanna-
them, no backseating. If they put stuff in my chat and I see it, what can I do? What can I do?
You admit you got carried.
No, I didn't. I would have got that easy. I'm super smart. I've
He just
got like
figured it out in
IQ
the
and
exact
stuff.
moment before he read the message.
Oh, thank you, chatter, who just wrote about that specific thing
that
in my
one.
chat.
Right. Yeah.
Now you admit, yeah.
But honestly, I mean, that's the thing. I can't comment on the fact that it did get spoiled for me. I asked them not to spoil it. Classic chat. But yes, you are correct on that one. You are correct. I definitely did get
I
carried on
added
that
the
bit.
person and I said, not like this. And they were like, oh shit, sorry, I've never played the game. And I was like,
Can I say something as well? This is a complete aside, but on the same topic here. I was playing Mortuary Assistant, and there's a bit in the game where there's like a secret key code that you need, like in all kind of games, which unlocks something, right? And I was like, I wonder what it is. And I was thinking, okay, maybe it's the established date of the mortuary, or it's the birthday of myself on my ID card or something. And I swear to God, some f***ing kid goes into the stream and types in this random set of numbers and go, I reckon it's this. And I was like, what makes you think it's this? Because I had no idea in my brain that, this was the actual code. What makes you think it's that? And it's just like, oh, I just did a random Google number generator thing, right? And I put in the code into the keypad, and of course it unlocks it.
Of course.
The thing is, I took the higher ground. I said, well, I'm not collecting this key because obviously I got it the cheap way by you saying, because I did ask you, do you know the code? And if this is a spoiler, I'm going to be very upset. Of course, it's the right thing. So I basically said, well, I'm not going to pick it up now. So you're going to have to wait till next stream for me to figure out how to get that code before I even pick it up. And that's what I did. So let that be a lesson to all you people who try and ruin games. I'm not just going to do as you say, you pricks. Apart from Toilet Chronicles, thank you so much for the carry.
I am not your puppet.
It was so funny watching you though, Reapz, because you had like some of the same issues I had. But one big thing you didn't have an issue with, there's this one thing that you can pick up and it says, only use on yellow, right?
Yep.
And you're like, okay. I didn't know you could pick that up. I tried to pick that up like for like 5 or 6 run-throughs.
Yeah.
Because you have to like press it on a certain part of it.
Yeah.
And I kept pressing the button and it wouldn't pick it up. And I was like, okay, I guess this is just here for show or something. Whereas for you, you kept trying to walk through a section.
I did.
And it would block you. And I was so close to writing in chat saying, hey, Reapz, maybe move the physical object that is punching you in the head when you try walk through it. And you would never pick it up. So you just like do this weird shimmy thing. And I'd be like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Listen, we all have our ways to break games.
Exactly.
We're all not as bright.
Exactly.
But no,
Speaking of breaking
such a
games,
good
though,
game.
I finally got around to playing Stray this past week.
Hey, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I think I had a good time. It was a nice experience. Lot of good moments. I think it did a good job of kind of building the world and trying to tell an interesting story. And at every point in the game, I was just trying to break it and break the physics and just do weird stuff. And if I could push anything, you better believe I was bringing it along with me as much as possible. My plastic chairs were my best friend. Anytime I found a crate, I was always trying to like hop inside it and trying to like just like keep it on my head as I walked around, which led to me getting crates into weird places that you would never be able to reproduce.
Oh, have you made some TikToks of it? People love that.
Yeah,
crap.
we've got some edited. Yeah, I've just gotten crates. Like I was just like the physics would just freak out and it'll just get stuck in like weird spots. I'm like, oh, okay, it's there now. Yeah. But no, overall, I had a really good time. It was good. Although the best part, Archie walked into my room right as we started the game. So I was like,
And for those audio listeners, who's Archie?
Archie's my dog. He's my little Pomeranian cross Shih Tzu. And he walked into the room right as we started. And I'm like, content idea. I picked him up, put him on my lap, and I turned my speakers on, and I started pressing the meow button right at the start of it's like the start of the game. And he was like, started like, what? And he's just like laser focused on the screen. And you just hear, just in the microphone. It's just.
That's content, friend.
It is
that
beautiful.
Is content.
So that TikTok just went up yesterday.
Oh, that's going to do very well.
Well, we're hoping so. It was very adorable. I was like, this is the best content ever. And chat agreed. And but yeah, so that was really good. And then we had some really good Yu-Gi-Oh streams. Had a really good Yu-Gi-Oh stream on Sunday, which I was pretty happy about. And we got some new videos coming out this week as well. So, and I made I guess you could say a bit of an amateur mistake with a recent recording I did where I set up a top-down cam for an unboxing. Forgot to edit the audio tracks in OBS, so every single audio track had scratch audio from the top-down camera. I was like, ugh. No. So I salvaged it the best I could. It's not that bad, but I'm like, it's better me to salvage it and have it listenable than just to not upload it at all. So
yes, definitely throw it out there. See what sticks.
Exactly. I'm still still light on Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Got to get more videos out for YouTube to learn what my channel's about. So might as well just put it out there. So yeah, nice. That was basically my week in the streaming and content creation.
Lovely week. What a lovely week then. But we should probably get onto the order of today, Nick, which you were talking about at the beginning. Do you want to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Twitch finally, after all this time, I'd say after us talking about it and complaining about it, Twitch is finally solving a big issue, and it's quite fitting. As yesterday, and I was told this by my friend who happened to have XQC's stream up. He was playing slots. In the span of like half an hour, spent over $500,000 in slots, which is just bonkers.
It's not much when you realize he says that he spent almost half. I read somewhere else that he said that he's lost or spent in the last couple months something like something upwards of the 5 to 10 millions.
That's how much money to even be like, I can lose that and not worry about it. That's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. But given all that, and there's a lot of these like gambling websites that have like crypto links. They basically, some news has come out of essentially some teenagers who have seen all these streamers gambling and going on these crypto slots and all that and losing an incredible amount of money. No. And now Twitch is has said that it's going to take a serious look into gambling and its place on the platform. Eljay, you had some more info because you read more of the article. Anything to add to that, or
not much? I think it's really important to clarify. Twitch aren't solving the issue just quickly. They've just said they're going to look at it, which it does not mean much, right? If they find that the cost benefit of like people subscribing to these people and stuff like that, or stuff like things, more viewership coming in is worth it, I don't have any hope that Twitch is going to choose to do anything against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they may just go, look, we're in its own category, so it's fine, which is something that they've done in the past. Everyone knows that I'm probably Twitch gambling meta is one of the biggest proponents against it, like legitimately despising it, but at the same time, I don't have much hope for it because there's lots of stuff. For example, I've just tried to go to a website and pause an ad that was playing, and it's one of those fake pause buttons, and I hate it. Anyway, so like one of the main problems with it is the fact that so kids essentially, right? And everyone's like, oh, kids can't do anything. One of XQC's viewers, while he was doing Gamba, showed that if you go to the website, you can sign up in about 3-4 clicks without having to verify anything. And you can just pretty much get set up on a crypto gambling site in seconds, right?
That's crazy.
Didn't have to prove age, didn't have to prove anything. All they needed to do was log in and give a credit card, and that was it. That was all they had to do. And it was just like, it's just so irresponsible and messed up. You know what I mean? I understand, like, here's the thing, right? I try not to be too judgmental for a lot of places, for example, right? Like as I'm getting older, I'm trying to be more, oh yeah, not everything's black and white. And so, for example, if Reapz, you came to me and said, hey man, you're probably going to hate me for this, but I just got offered $800,000 to do 2 gambling streams and I'm going to take it. I'd go, honestly, dude, I don't hate you for that because that's a huge amount of fucking money for someone in your situation, right? Like, you know, as a smaller streamer.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how millionaires are still doing this despite knowing the impacts. And the serious problem is the fact that what people don't realize is we're not going to see the impacts of this right now. We're going to see the impacts of this in 5 years, in 10 years, as a huge like wave of teenagers who saw all this gambling and stuff like that, saw it was promoted, saw it was fun, suddenly get the ability to do it. And then just get sucked in and just have this huge epidemic, which I think people will be like, that's not how it works. And it's like, well, it's kind of actually proven that that's kind of how it works, actually.
Building the addiction and the sort of the mental routines of it, so they
you can see the kind of trickle down effect in terms of, because more big streamers are doing these gamba streams basically where they're being paid to gamble. We saw Bloomberg actually release the article of Twitch crypto gambling is now the 7th most watched thing on Twitch, and that's crazy when you think about it. Like, because they literally are going into a gaming realm. I would say that Twitch is still known as the gaming live stream location. And it's now just become the lexicon that gambling equals gaming, and that's fine to watch. It's kind of like going to a casino and just standing there watching all the people pull on the the levers for slot machines and go, this is peak athletes, esports competition right here. It's kind of legit nutty.
Well, here's the big problem, right, that I see is that when you go to places like Twitch Tracker or you go to places that show off the top clips of Twitch in like a period of time, like one of the big things you'll see often is this big list of today's top clips, this week's top clips, this month's top clips, and all-time top clips, right? And I like to go through there and kind of get an idea of what is going on the platform, what's going viral, stuff like that. Because it's better than going to live stream fails, because live stream fails is just kind of like a weird hive mind that doesn't like actually represent Twitch. But top clips does get you an idea because it also shows you Spanish clips. It shows you, clips of the Korean creators and stuff like that. And so you kind of get an idea of what the platform's on. And one of the things I always notice is it's you never see train wrecks or someone losing millions as a top clip, right? They talk about it. They say, oh, I've lost this, I've lost that. And there are clips of them that are small. But the top clips are always wins $800,000 in one roll, right? And it's always those, like at the top of it. And it just makes me think, okay, so if 5,000 to 20,000 people are watching a clip about how he lost $500,000 versus 350,000 people just watched a clip about him winning $800,000 in like a day, in a 24-hour period. It's like, do people not understand the huge amount of people who are going to watch one clip and go, holy shit, I can win $800,000, and not realize, holy shit, this guy has lost more than that in the space of time before he won that. That's not him winning that money. That's him barely breaking even. So I think it's so messed up. It's so messed up.
Agreed. Completely agreed. It really just, it comes down to, because I saw the other day, how Twitch released the kind of, we're going to look into it, yada, yada, yada. And I finished stream yesterday, and I think I looked at, the follow list or recommended streams, and XQC was up there with like 65,000 people watching him play slots. And it's funny because previous days I've seen XQC, and like everyone during this time, less viewers. So he's averaging around like 50,000, a little over 50,000 playing, games. But when he went to slots, 65,000. So that's like an increase of, I don't even know how, nearly 20%, right? And it's like, wow, this really has become a mainstay because we've had all these proponents. We had that big, remember when H3 did his podcast with XQC and I think Trains, basically saying, why are you promoting gambling? And it was this big backlash, and XQC was saying, I'll never do it, type of thing. Again, I understand now the ramifications it has. And then you see 6 months, a year later, we're back
Not even
to...
that. Not even that. It was so much sooner than that, yeah.
Far out. Feels like forever ago. Now they're back to just like, oh, Stake is giving me millions of dollars to do these streams, so I may as well just do it, right?
Well, it's really tough as well because we've talked about this before, but if anyone's a new listener or doesn't remember, on that H3 one, Trainwreck accidentally revealed how much worse it is while he was trying to defend himself, because he revealed that the way the affiliate link worked, and this is one of the main reasons affiliate links were banned, was that the affiliate link pays you out all of the losses, right? Not all of the losses, a percentage of the losses those people have to the house. So if someone signs up and loses $50,000, then there's a percentage cut. And the percentage he gave, I don't remember off the top of my head because the conversation was a while ago now, so I'm not going to quote it, but the percentage he gave revealed that it was somewhere in the like upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month being lost that he got, which means that the actual full amount that people were losing was way bigger than that because he only got a percentage.
Yeah.
And Hassan and H3 worked it out on the thing and said, is this true? Is this what it is? And he suddenly started trying to backpedal and like change the thing and like push the narrative a different way and stuff like that. But it came out that, yeah, that was legitimately like that those affiliate numbers were actually accurate because he wanted to talk about how much he was getting from affiliate and how it was peanuts when it was like, no, it's huge when you think about it's all losses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it's horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
That's just insane. Like, and that's like, it's one thing to, you know, get paid directly to do something, but then to know that you're getting paid like all the money that people are losing because you've given addictions to people, like that's just not sit right at all.
No.
Well, I felt like a piece of shit the other day because I uploaded this video called Minecraft, but my viewers control my world, which was like essentially I played Twitch chat controlled Minecraft. And one of the big things that I wanted to do for this stream was I specifically made it so there was about 15 to 20 channel point redemptions, right? Because I was like, no one should have to pay to interact. You know what I mean? If someone sits around for 30 minutes, they'll have enough channel points, for example, to spawn 64 eggs, but they're not called eggs. They're called something weird, right? Or they have the ability to spawn a blaze, for example. A blaze was something like 1,000 or 1,500 channel points with a cooldown. So like anyone could get involved. They could troll me. They could help me. They could do whatever they want with channel points. But I did add monetization ones as well for things like if you subscribe, a literal lightning strike just smashes on me. You know what I mean? And I made other ones, like for example, if you did 1,000 bits, it clears my entire inventory.
Yep.
Right. Which for 300 bits, you could give me diamonds. Right. So like, obviously it's like people could fight each other. Right. And my community did go quite hard, but out of something like, we had like hundreds of redeems that night, but it was something like 85% of them like were all from channel points.
Right.
Okay. So we edit this video down and I release it. And I get a comment from someone who's a Stream Scheme commenter, has been around for a while, but is always a little bit, they've always kind of commented things that were a little bit off. You know, like their opinions about Twitch and their opinions about streaming have always been a little extreme, which is quite normal.
Yeah.
A lot of people do take streaming very seriously. It's something I've had to step back and make sure I recently, with drops in terms of viewership, I've taken it too seriously. I'm trying to relax more. But they commented on this video. It had like 200 views. Right? Like my other channel's not big. My stream's not huge. Wow. It was something like they wrote, wow, what a sad way to make money or something like that. This isn't for me. I wouldn't, I blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't do this and all this shit. Just like essentially, I'm trying to paraphrase because I don't want to, but essentially they were just essentially saying that I was a scumbag, right?
Yeah.
Like they openly said, that was it. They said like, what a dead-hearted way to try and make money. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, are you serious? And I wrote back saying most of the things you just saw on this video were channel point redeems for free. I didn't sit there telling people they had to pay me or anything like that, you know? And they just wrote back saying, oh gosh, you know, I didn't want to put my negative feelings on you. Don't worry, I'm not going to copy this idea. I don't like this idea. And I was like, I didn't
think that.
I wasn't worried about that. And then they were like, I just feel like I would never do this because it's such a bad way to make money and I'm going to stick to playing Sea of Thieves. And I was like,
What's like going to be your life story? It's like, what a weird tangent. By the way, I'm going to actually go and eat takeout tonight with the money that I could have saved if I did this.
And I was just like, what? Like, and I said in my reply to them before I said, you should stop worrying about what others are doing, because if all you're doing is looking at someone else's content and judging them without realizing that what they're doing is actually they're not scamming people, they're not doing this, they're not fucking up, blah, blah, blah. You know, if all you're doing is insulting them, specifically in their comment section as well, you're probably just going to set yourself up to fail, right? Because you can't go around and watch someone and the only thought going through your head while you watch them is, nah, this sucks. I wouldn't do that. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? It just felt weird. But anyway, it made me for like a split second feel like a piece of shit that I was doing monetized incentives. But then I was like, hold the phone.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
But like even these monetized incentives, people know what they're getting for it. It isn't like a random chance thing that you're giving them. If you donate 1,000 bits, something may or may not happen, which is basically what gambling is. If you give me $10, you may or may not win. Chances are you won't win. You are giving them like an immediate, this is how much you've got to pay and this is what you'll get for it. To me, isn't that like a good way of doing things? Because you don't have to give this, the money over, but you know that if you do, this is definitely what's going to happen. And it obviously relates to me as a streamer and helps me continue to do what I do. Now, people can say that about gambling as well, I guess, is that, well, they're just doing it, as you said, but you raised the point beforehand, Eljay, which I think we all agree with. They're already millionaires. They're now to the extent of how much greed can I have to peddle this stuff to people who may not know the difference that I am getting reimbursed to lose this money on stream and win this money on stream. Okay.
Yep. That's it.
It blows me away a little bit. But this leads me on to another topic that I wanted to talk about with you boys today. So I linked it in industry news and just wrote the word old news. And I don't think you would have had time to watch it because it's actually quite a long discussion. Okay. But it was Jay Schlatt and Slimesicle, right? Okay. And I wouldn't say that either of these guys are necessarily streamers. I would consider both of them YouTubers.
Yes.
But they've both streamed and had pretty decent interactions with Twitch and they understand the platform. They know a lot of streamers. And it is such a good conversation. And I feel like every single person who wants to be a small streamer should watch this discussion, right? Because essentially, Slimesicle asks Jay Schlatt about streaming. And he says like, you're a streamer, right? And Jay Schlatt's like, I'm not, right? And essentially it boils down to, they talk about the difference between Twitch and YouTube and content creation. And Schlatt essentially says, here's the thing about Twitch. Twitch, you grind. You grind and grind and grind and grind. And the reality is, the lower effort content will always do better, right? They were like, React content will always get you more views, right? Gordon Ramsay, had mansion tours like what I did. I know that your Nuke's top 10 stuff, Reapz, does really well on your channel. He was like, it always does better.
Yep.
He was like, you can put a big event on, but unless you're the giant top, those big events usually perform worse, which I don't know about you boys, but I've had personal experience with that I did a giant cooking stream and I had like 98 average viewers compared to when I did a mansion tour and I had 145 average viewers the week before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people the content sometimes on Twitch, it really does come down to the fact that the easy, lazy stuff performs way better.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And he was talking about how as Twitch streamers, you grind, right? That's it. You're just grinding. And that's all it is. It's not, it's very rarely like some big joyous work or like you're spending a labor of love on something like that. It's usually just hours upon hours of content. And then you switch off the stream and you go, that was good. But a week later, you're no longer feeling good about that stream you did because you're still grinding that wheel.
Yes,
right?
very true.
Which I thought was so interesting to hear that even a big streamers feel that way about it, right? And they talked about that was one of the reasons why both of them decided that Twitch streaming would never be their key focus.
Yeah.
They always wanted to be YouTube and other projects to be their key focus. And I was watching this while I was feeling the exact same feelings of, man, why does streaming feel so demotivating lately?
Yes.
And that was one of the big pushes that I did as to switch my stream schedule entirely over. And I talked about this yesterday morning on the stream about how my entire new focus is SSN, Eljay YouTube, a brand new project I've started, and I'm not really going to care whatsoever about my stream's overall performance and optimizing and stuff like that. Because the way I look at my stream is it's going to be a secondary engagement tool for the people who like my other content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I've cut my hours back.
Yes.
And I'm doing things like changing my schedule to fit my life rather than the other way around. Because I do not want to grind myself down purely for the sake of being a streamer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather have streaming be an enjoyable process that I can use to chat to people who enjoy my other content.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that extra stress. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the smartest way of doing it, honestly. Like if I could do it all over again, I would focus so much more on other avenues that aren't streaming. And I think I want to make it very clear that I'm not saying that I don't like streaming. I love streaming.
Oh, yeah, me too,
I
by the
love
way.
the community. You know what I mean? But it's more the fact of like, for my own mental and monetary well-being, you are always living on a kind of knife's edge being around the mark that I'm at. Like, I'm a small streamer. If you're like one of the big guys who get like, you know, thousands of subs a day or bits or whatever it is, or you got those big old sponsorships, it's a lot easier to just kind of be like more, yeah, I can do this for a long time and I enjoy it because I know that I'm getting paid. For us, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everyone here, but you kind of are very reliant on the people who watch you and the kind of gratuity that they give you as well. So I think that's the smartest thing to do. And I'm kind of doing that as well. But like in regards to not obviously just YouTube and stuff, but outside projects. Like I've been approached by companies to be like, do you want to host this? And I was like, for sure. I would like to expand my portfolio that's just not relying on a stream. And I would like to kind of, that's what I'm actually doing right now is I'm trying to make all of this streaming stuff go the other way where I can get those times, I can get those opportunities, and I can get the kind of feel of like, here's my evergreen stuff, here's what I could do. And it's more just a hangout, right, for what I do. And the other thing, as you said, I think that's the most appropriate thing to do because again, everyone looks at the big time streamers and go, I want to be them, not realizing that they are such a minority in the scheme of things. And the reason why most of them are there is because they started at day dot when Twitch was just like picked off the ground. So yeah, huge.
Well, it's also interesting. Another thing that made me think about it more was like I was watching the Iron Mouse streamiversary where she was doing her, I think it was maybe a partnerversary or 5 years as a VTuber.
Wow, 5 years.
And I was watching, and I was watching that. And one of the things she says in her outro, which I linked, was that for 3 years she streamed to sub 50 viewers.
I'm with her. Me and Iron Mouse are the same. It's great.
We're all the same.
We're all in the same boat.
And then over the last 2 years, she's just exploded in growth. You know what I mean? She's absolutely exploded in growth. And I just think that that's such a good example, right? Like of how everyone really is just kind of like out there doing their own thing. And the really sad thing is that I think a lot of people, if they'd looked at Iron Mouse's channel right before she blew up, when she was still around that sub 50, they probably would have judged her.
Oh, yeah.
They would have been like, wow, 3 years to sub 50? Whoa, man, that's a little sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it's not. Like, if you actually look at it right.
It's average.
It's also, by the way, to clarify a little bit, those 3 years, it's not just sub 50.
Yeah.
It's like sub 40, sub 30 for most
Like
of it,
the
right?
fluctuations, yeah.
Yeah, and then it just starts pumping, right? And once you start getting the attention on Twitch and you can get to the top of like a lot of this attention and stuff like that, you do just pump.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yep.
So no, I just thought that was such an interesting thing, right? Like, and one of the things she said it's one of the things Iron Mouse said a lot was streams have always just been a place to blow off steam and have fun and like do like fun stuff and do things like that. But again, she's always also talked about other projects are much more the focus, which is collabs, you know, and hanging out with people or doing YouTube and things. And I think most streamers probably would say that like collabs are one of their biggest ways they grew. And I think that's another thing for Iron Mouse as well. Like joining the VTuber community properly and like meeting these other people and doing collabs was huge for her.
Yeah.
And I think like, for example, Connor has gotten a lot more attention lately. And I think that's a big thing for him was probably meeting Ludwig and all the LA group.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
He was already big, but like in the Twitch circles.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that was a nice little thing to talk about was like readdressing the way forward and then looking at someone like Iron Mouse, who's I would say one of the most successful streamers probably on the platform right now.
Without a doubt.
After all, she does have the record for most subs, I believe.
Yes.
She beat Ludwig. And I just kind of look at it and I go, yeah, 3 years, sub 50. It's fucking sick, right? I'm coming up to 3 years and I'll be, you know, sitting around 100 probably at 3 years.
That's
Like,
great.
I don't know, maybe I'm pretty happy. I'm successful in my own right. I can stream, but I can also work and look after my partner and my family.
Yes.
It's the prime example of everybody is going at their own pace. And sometimes it comes down to a bit of luck, but also comes down to what else you're doing. Like if you're only streaming and that's it, then you are relying on so many factors out of your control.
Yes.
But if you're putting that time in, on other places, all you're doing is just you're increasing the chance of having the success that you're trying to look for. And that's what, that's what Reapz and I are like really trying to put more work into is more, more content outside, more evergreen stuff that can really, that we can grow and then, in time, hopefully have some trickle over back to the channel as well, which is all you can really hope for.
Yeah.
Hot take. I think that most people look at it the same way. And I know you aren't doing this, but like I think a lot of people look at content on other platforms and the only reason they look at doing it is to grow on Twitch. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons why they never grow on other platforms. Is because they don't treat a YouTube channel as its own individual thing, right? Where they're creating content for their own individual audience, for their own concepts, for their own like key demographic, whatever it is, and just like trying to make it the best it possibly can. Instead, they're like, I'm going to make this thing and hopefully it helps this other thing. And it's like, well, no, provide full value on this channel first. And then later in the future, be like, hey, by the way, if you want, you can check this out, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's a weird mindset. And I wonder what has caused it. I think maybe it's like stream advice channels always pushing start a YouTube channel. Like I've said the same thing. But I always try and preface it with make it its own value. You know what I mean? But it's all I hear these days is people being like, oh yeah, I started the YouTube channel purely to grow my Twitch stream. I'm like,
I think the other way around. Yeah.
I think a lot of people they feel like they need to put some work into like making a YouTube channel or making content on other platforms. Just they're like, oh yeah, I'll just do that until my channel grows enough when I only have to stream once they get to a certain point. I feel like that's the mentality behind a lot of people. It's like, yeah, I only need to put in effort for a little bit, grow that and then get my Twitch channel up to whenever it's bigger. And then I can just be one of the big times. I think that's literally what they're thinking.
I do think a lot of people look at the big time streamers and they look at their YouTube channels. Let's just take, for instance, XQC.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go to XQC's channel, it's basically 3 to 4 videos a day and it's just cut downs. Literally, there's no edits. It's from this point to this point in the stream with like a flashy clickbaity title and a thumbnail. And they're like, oh, that's all I have to do. But the thing is that they don't probably consider is that he's an established name. If you're not an established name and you just try and do exactly his formula, if I'm just going to cut this bit to this bit of my stream and just put it up there with my face, people are like, who the hell is this person? Why do I care what they think? You have to be that kind of celebrity status for people to be engaged with you. And you can see it like, I know it's probably been taken over now, but Ludwig's number one video on his channel for however many years was the like top 10
salty ice climber moment.
Yeah, exactly. Which is not him. It's just like...
It's not him.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people need to realize that, as you said, Eljay, and you know about this more than either of us, is like the YouTube kind of demo, what people want to see there and what the niche is in terms of carving out your real estate on this platform. And I've taken a good look and I'm trying to figure out what that is for me, because I look at Moist Critical's channel. And the thing about Moist Critical is he's kind of like an exception to the rule because he does commentary. He does that thing where he just takes clips from his stream and put it up there. But again, he's established and he can do that. And people are intrigued with him at the moment. So why not do that? But it's not like one of those things that you can start off doing and go, I'm going to find success doing this, because it's very scattered and not, as you said, to the niche. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to kind of do things off of stream where I can actually fuck up as many times as I want, edit those bits out and go, I'm a professional. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing about YouTube is you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? Ludwig example is one that I talk about a lot on stream. It's probably the best example of someone creating something that isn't at all connected to their personal brand or personal value and having a huge appeal to a huge demographic.
Yep.
Right? Like gamers in general would like to see rage moments. They think it's fun. But then obviously the Smash community wants to see them because they want to know what the top 10 most rage-inducing Smash stuff is.
Yeah.
Right? Ludwig already had a Smash community watching him because all he did was make Smash highlights and host Smash things and stuff like that. And so his key demographic, Smash at the time, really liked that video. So it started getting recommended. People liked it in the wider demographic because they don't need any context, right? This is the big thing, is context. No one needs context to see the top Smash fails.
Yeah.
It's all there in the title. You know, it's the same reason why Small Ant doesn't say Small Ant plays X, you know, or here's my 20th episode of Minecraft Let's Play, right? Like he does a concept. And I think that people, in a new video I have coming out soon, I literally say at the start, I'm like, I'm going to say 3 statements to you and they're going to upset you, right? But by the end of this video, you're going to agree with these statements. And the first statement I say to them is, you do not matter. Right? Which again will upset people because you, to a degree, you have to be pretty narcissistic to think you are going to matter. And you need to be pretty narcissistic in order to actually start a YouTube channel or a content creation career.
Yep.
Because you have to believe that you're worth watching.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like there's a certain level of like self-absorbed you need, right? But you have to separate that apart. And that's the hardest thing I think new YouTubers have is they can't separate that apart and they don't know how to actually appropriately show value.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like look at Stream Room, for example. We've only had one channel. Oh, sorry. We've only had one upload that has used us as the clickbait.
Yep.
Right. And we did that because we wanted to test it out. Every other thing on this channel has been entirely focused towards the largest possible demographic. Has it been super successful? Well, yeah, actually, I think it really has because on a channel like this, it normally would take fucking ages to get anywhere near the views that we get.
Yeah.
Right. But we've had 1,000 views on the Ninja Wants Small Streamers to Follow for Follow. We've had 1,000 views on why you can't be a successful Twitch streamer. You know, 900 views on how this streamer reached 200 average viewers, right? You don't need any context. All of these episodes give you all the context you need in order to be able to understand them, right? Our faces don't matter.
Yep.
Whoever it is doesn't matter. It's literally just
the concept, as you said.
Yeah.
And the thing that I really took like a step back and go, wow, was the fact that I think it was only a few months ago where we reached over 4,000 hours of watch time on this. And I understand that people go, well, it's a longer, podcast, it's 1 to 2 hours, but still people have to watch it to get to the 1 to 2 hours. And it just feels really nice to be like, there are people out there who are watching our stuff who may agree with us, disagree with us, and there is that engagement. So yeah, it was an amazing eye-opening thing for me because I'm still trying to reach 4,000 hours on my own channel. And that's got, more subscribers, but, they're dead subscribers, So it's like, how do you reach that? And it really comes down to value. It comes down to how you pitch the channel and what will make people click on it, as you said, Eljay. And I'm really taking that to heart in terms of my own endeavors and, what can I do?
a really powerful example is last week's podcast episode.
Yeah.
Right? Last week's podcast episode, we released it to our audience here, and it was 10 of 10, which is a bad thing. If you ever hear a YouTuber say, yeah, it was 10 of 10, that's like a bad thing. It means it was the worst performing upload of the past 10 uploads.
Yep.
Right? And it was a 10 out of 10, right? So it was terrible. But about a day and 6 hours in, the YouTuber goes, oh, I think we kind of understand who this video needs to go out to now. And in the space of maybe like 5 to 12 hours, or maybe even like a day, we got roughly 8,000 impressions and we got 700 views, right?
Yeah.
Brand new, right? If you go through and look, it's not returning viewers, it's new viewers.
Yep.
And that's because the algorithm was like, okay, people might care about this video. And all that video is the words, why are giant streamers leaving?
Yeah.
And then the thumbnail is a sad Twitch logo and then Pokimane with like a peace sign, like as if she's leaving. And then I've like made the background kind of nice, right? And that's because, okay, so our audience was like, oh, we know that we kind of get what the boys talk about. Maybe it's not really interesting to them. But the algo was like, no, I know who this is for. And because it appealed to that large demographic, when it showed it off, it actually got a decent amount of views. But imagine if that was like Stream Room Podcast episode 29. The boys discuss Twitch's grind culture. Like no one's clicking that.
I wouldn't even click on it. I don't want to hear what I say.
We do not matter, right?
Yeah, not in the slightest. Absolutely not.
It's how you pitch yourself.
No, I don't know. That's my big thing lately is I keep thinking about like how little we matter and how it's like so heavily needs to be focused on other things for the largest possible demographic. You know, like Call Me Kevin. If you look at Call Me Kevin's channel, he could upload every video with his face in the thumbnail and people would probably click it, right? But he doesn't. He tries to make them like overall concepts.
Yeah.
Because to even someone of his size, he cares more about bringing in brand new viewers from the homepage rather than getting his core audience to just keep clicking the same shit.
Yep. I hear you.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
It is. I think anyone who, if you even sort of consciously pay attention to what the videos you watch, and not to say like, you know, you're going through your routine YouTube channels that you watch, but like if you ever start clicking on suggested videos or recommended, you pay attention, you'll realize that that's the kind of stuff you click on. Engaging thumbnail, a title that gives you information but leaves some intrigue. You're like, oh, what? And you'll just click on it.
Yep.
And
I don't even know if intrigue's a thing anymore. I have a hot take, and I was listening to Small talk about this on a podcast. He was saying that he doesn't think any kind of intrigue matters. He was saying that he thinks give it all context so they know exactly what they're going to get and just make it sound hype.
Okay.
And I kind of agree with that to an extent.
Okay.
Like, I kind of agree. Like, I think asking a question sometimes performs far worse because people are like, I don't really care. Whereas just saying a statement is so much more interesting sometimes.
That's true. I'm just looking at his channel now, and I'm just going to give you some some actual titles. Pokemon Emerald, but every battle is extremely unfair. You're right. It's the context. It's just, this isn't a question. You're going to watch Pokemon, and every battle's going to be pitted against me. Mario Odyssey Hide and Seek just got smaller. It's a big Mario, and to the left of him are like little Marios, so I'm guessing simple, right? This speedrunner was convinced he could beat me in a race. You are so right. It basically is just, here's context, and this is exactly what you're going to see. And I mean, we're talking 1.2 million, 1.6 million, like 1.1 million for each of these videos that have come out in the past month. That's crazy.
And also, I would say that no one recognizes the speedrunner he uses in that thumbnail, but because he writes the word 2,000 hours, a point, and there's a link next to him from Breath of the Wild, they go, oh, it must be a speedrunner with 2,000 hours who thinks he can beat Smallland, who doesn't have anywhere near 2,000 hours, right? Like it's like he doesn't even, literally all it is now is just him aggressively posing exactly what the content is, and then people going, yeah, okay, I want to see that happen.
Yeah. The one, like his latest video, the Emerald, but it's extremely unfair. The thumbnail is like almost the secondary context, where it's like, Emerald is extremely unfair. And then you're thinking, well, what's unfair about it? And then all the thumbnail shows is here's one Pokemon versus two Pokemon. And then then you have all the context. You're like, oh, it's because every trainer has it's a 1v2 battle. Like you immediately know everything, and you're like, I'm gonna watch this. So it's really cool.
I just find it so interesting. Like I think that the YouTube space nowadays is a lot of people who want to be YouTubers are looking at it from as if it was still the golden age of Let's Plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because people who want to be YouTubers are usually people who are around, 20-ish when they're starting to really get into doing it properly because they have the funds and the ability to do it. And they're kind of mimicking what they grew up on. So like they're trying to do the Rooster Teeth Let's Plays and all these people doing Let's Plays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like Let's Play content. It just doesn't work.
It's done.
Like, it just does not work.
It was an era that people were like, oh, finally I can watch and have like great personality over it. But now everyone's doing it. So it's just become so diluted that you want to find the right person. And as you said, if you spice it up a bit and, as you said, contrast it in a different light, where it is like, okay, I'll do exactly that, but I'm going to add these stakes on top of it, 1v2. Then you're like, I'm more interested in this than I am with just like a normal playthrough.
Yeah.
And also they know it's an encapsulated story,
Yeah.
right? Like a big thing is like if you for example, if we're gonna stick with Smallland as the conversation, right?
Yep.
If we go like 3 rows down, man terrified of the ocean plays Subnautica for the first time, right?
That's a great
There's no
title.
way he's gonna do all of Subnautica in one place.
No.
In one video, right? So he has to make another video.
Yeah.
Is he going to say episode 2 of Man Plays Subnautica for the first time? No, he's not. He's going to say beating the most terrifying game I've ever played. And the thumbnail is this little dark creature at the bottom of the ocean with his little flippers and stuff, right? And it's like, you don't need to think to yourself, oh, I can't click that because I haven't seen episode 1 yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's such a big thing. It's just getting them in and not putting any barriers in their way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think so many people these days put these huge barriers. Like, this is one of the main things I get in stream scheme. People go, I've been uploading videos, but they're not working. And you click their channel and it's like, all they've uploaded is 22 episodes with episode numbers in it, with episode stuff. And it's the same thumbnail every time, but the number. And it's a Let's Play of like Minecraft survival.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, because the big thing at the end of the day is, the person uploading it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't matter. Like, at the end of the day, if someone as big as Small Ant or someone as big as Call Me Kevin can go to themselves, my face doesn't matter. My personality and stuff doesn't matter. I need to sell this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? then we should be doing the same thing.
I completely agree with you. And it's a really good point to have as well, because if you want to reach new audiences, I think there's a heavy reliance on the fact that a lot of people see like a YouTuber, whatever, and they've got like a big follow account next to their name. And some people just do that kind of bandwagoning thing where they're like, I got to click on it. They got a lot of followers. This seems to be the big thing at the moment. I won't really watch their content, but I'll be one of the followers, right? But when it does kind of have like a person's face in a thumbnail compared to the concept in a thumbnail, overall, you think if you'd give that to like a pool of 1,000 people, more people will click on the concept rather than the person, because they could have, like, I don't know who that person is. I'm more interested in the concept more so. So I'll be very interested to see if you could actually do that. If you could like have this pool of people and go, are you more interested in like the facial expression? Because that's the big thing. It's like facial expression on a thumbnail rather than here is just a 1v2, as you said, because I feel in the long run, the concept is really taking over more so than the personality clickbait shocked expression faces. But then again, maybe it's different demographics. There's the family channels and there's the gaming channels. I don't know.
Well, I think even the family channels and stuff like that are doing the exact same thing, right? Like look at SS Sniper Wolf. You know what I mean? She has a consistent. She uses momentum thumbnails that I've talked about a bunch. But like, it's not like SS Sniper Wolf reacts to, I'm pretty sure. I think she literally just writes the words, the most satisfying TikToks you'll ever see. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like, okay, well, I don't need any kind of context to go, mean girl makes fun of poor girl at salon. I know what that is. I can click that, right? Like, it's just, you don't need context. And her face only helps probably because of the momentum. And also, she's quite attractive. Let's be entirely real. I'm not going to lie. Same reason why like some other creators, for example, Ludwig, right? He has a few photos of him where he's like very attractive that probably works a bit better. But it's not all down to that. Don't take me the wrong way. I'm just talking about thumbnail breakdowns. And I just think it's interesting. I just think it's really, really, really interesting that these days it's almost like you have to come up with, this is what I say at least. I've been personally saying on my videos for a while now that I come up with an idea, a title, and a thumbnail, and I have all that, and then I script, right? Because I find if I have all of that, then the video tends to make more sense and be more put together.
Yes. I think that's extremely smart, because I very much go on tangents and everything, but I do want to try doing a title and a thumbnail first. I've never done that. I've had a concept, but it's always kind of been a loose concept because obviously I don't know where I'm driving to apart from I want to achieve this per se. But I do want to go to the Sniper Wolf thing because, again, complete tangent. But I'm just looking at her, like, she released a video 2 hours ago. She's already got 342,000 views. 2 days ago, she does a thing called TikToks with a crazy plot twist, which, again, isn't a question. It's a concept. 3.1 million views in 2 days from reacting to TikToks. Cool things you've never seen before on TikTok. 3.3 million views, and that was 3 days ago. She must be raking it in. That's crazy.
Millions upon millions upon millions. I'm telling you, dude. These days on YouTube, it is entirely about just telling the viewers exactly what they want. And then just making sure that what you're telling them is interesting or intriguing to the mass demographic. You know what I mean? Maybe not intriguing. I'm trying to say the opposite. Not intriguing is just blatant, but something they're interested in clicking on. You know what I mean?
You're giving, so with this whole sort of like social climate we're in where attention span is dropping, because you've got people, TikTok, and then from that, YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels and stuff like that, right? So people want that short content. So then you go back to YouTube, right? And you've had this, and as we've been talking about, it's this phase where it's used to be these questions, like leaving a little bit of mystery, like people have to click on to find out what it is. It was like, whereas now the people don't want to waste their time. We want to know that if I'm going to click on a video, I want to know what I'm getting. So instead of moving questions, like we're just going to put a straight up statement. You're getting exactly what you want or what you're thinking you're going to get for the most part, and the thumbnail will help sell that. And it shows. It really shows with how just this entire shift that it's following suit. They're just we understand that your time is valuable, so we're going to tell you exactly what this video is about. So when you click on it, you're going to get what you want, and then you'll probably hopefully watch more.
Do you think that may be in part due to kind of the shift into video on demand? And I know that video on demand's been around for years and years and years, But in terms of people wanting what they want, they can literally Google it and find it within an instant, right? When there's that kind of intrigue of like, will they, won't they? And especially with YouTube taking away the dislike button, unless you've got, a plugin or anything, has it been just this shift of like, I am now more bamboozled by the fact that I don't know if this is going to be a good video or not, that I need to know exactly what I'm going in for and if there will be a payoff? Because I know that, as you said, Nick, if there is an open-ended question of will I, won't I, then it's kind of like, oh, I can't be asked to find out because what I want it now. And the fact that I have to spend 10 minutes or I can just skip to the end makes me feel that there's this kind of TikTok-centric thing of like, if I don't get what I want, I'm just going to flick to the next one really quickly and I'm not going to waste my time even, spending time watching it.
I think if you use Dream as an example, it's probably a good way to look at it. Obviously, we care about watch time and retention time more than like almost anything else on the entirety of every social platform these days because they're all arguing and fighting for your attention, like, two chads at a frat party. And it's just like intense, right? If you look at Dream, for example, his titles aren't, will I survive against 3 hunters? No, it's just like, here is the concept. You know what I mean? Here is the concept, me versus 3 hunters, right? And he keeps repeating that concept because it's so easy to repeat. But when you get into the video, it's all about the will they, won't they. You know what I mean? You like that? It's like, oh, fuck, I need to watch all the way to the end in order to see whether or not Dream will win or if the hunters will win this time. You know what I mean? And it's really interesting because what people don't realize is a lot of those hunts are actually really edited down. It looks like they're not because like he'll cut when he's doing like whip pans as his character and stuff like that. So you never really notice. So anytime there's any downtime, it's gone. So you're kind of always on the edge of your seat as like, and someone pointed out to me a while ago that when you watch a Dream Hunters video, he'll often sit on really low health and he won't eat food. Right? And the whole point is because he's on like half a heart, it makes it so much more extreme. You know what I mean? And it's like, it keeps you watching, keeps you engaged, keeps you going. So to answer what you're asking there, I think you're all about telling people exactly what they're going to get when they click on the video. But then once they're in, the will they, won't they, only really matters in terms of being like, there's going to be a payoff no matter what. Right? It's will X payoff happen or will Y payoff happen? You know what I mean? So like if you look at Elden Ring, you could say something like beating Elden Ring, or maybe not Elden Ring. What's a better example? You could say something like answering any question chat asks or doing hot sauce. I'm using that as my video example, right? And the whole point of that was pretty much, hey, I'm doing this as a community core focus thing. And the payoff is either I'm going to answer really creepy fucking questions or I'm going to do hot sauce. You know what I mean? It's like you get the core statement, you know I'm probably going to have the hot sauce, and you know you're probably going to get something else. So the payoff comes in either side, right? If we're talking about my channel for a second though, what's really interesting to me is anything that's personality driven that I can't sell to a giant audience, I'll share to SSN. So for example, the latest video, which is the human benchmark test ruined my self-esteem, right? That's shared to SSN because I knew it would underperform because it's my face. And then answering every question you asked or drinking hot sauce, that's also SSN shared. So if we look at the ones that haven't been shared, which is usually the gaming-based content, the 2 that performed the best and actually went out in the algorithm is the very first episode of I Am Fish, which is a hard game called This Cute Game is Designed to Make You Rage, right? And then it's me raging, an angry fish that I've given like demon eyes, and just the word pain, right? Halfway through, that's like a day later after I released that, it pops up being like, hi, just a heads up, your CTR is dropping because we're recommending this to a wider audience because more people are clicking it, right? And then I uploaded my Minecraft My Viewers Control the World one, and that one popped up being like, hi, we're recommending this to a much larger audience, so your CTR is dropping. And I think that's a really good sign. It's like, okay, YouTube is willing to share these things, and they know larger audiences are willing to click it. You know what I mean? And so you can see, and so those 2 videos, despite not having huge views, will perform longer overall because YouTube's like, okay, we can share this out to people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's really interesting. And I think if you're a YouTuber or you want to be a YouTuber or anything like that, you should always be putting honestly, your ego kind of needs to be put aside because you kind of want to believe that your face matters and like you matter. But like at the end of the day, to someone who's brand new, you really don't. And I think that's pretty much the takeaway for this entire conversation is put your ego aside, put your personality aside and just make it entirely about the concept as much as possible.
I think that's very hard for streamers to do because, obviously when you do a stream, it's all about your personality and what you bring to a game. And I think it's such an important statement that both Nick and Eljay have said is that you need to go, this is a different platform. This is not streaming. This is evergreen. You need to put that aside and go, it's not about personality, although once they get into the video, that's going to help a lot. It's more about the core concept that people want to see, which is a complete juxtaposition when it comes to streaming. And we do realize that. But yeah, just it's nice to make that kind of differential. Yeah.
I think one of the things I'll go back and do is I might go back and edit some old thumbnails on SSN as well.
Yeah.
To appeal better to the concept. Because I think I have videos in SSN that did quite well, but they could have done so much better if I just not included my face.
Right.
If I just made it entirely about something else.
Yeah.
1 second. You guys keep going.
He's doing it right now.
Yeah. No, it's a very interesting sort of like topic because I'm actually taking both approaches on the Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube channel. So one thing I've noticed, and not just because like they're bigger creators, but they actually will change their thumbnail approach depending on what the video is.
Yeah.
So for example, so a lot of it's very commonplace for a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh like streamers. They will upload like little edited clips to their YouTube channel as content, and in those parts, like in those videos, they'll commonly use their face, right? Because it's just from stream. There's not really it's not a dedicated video concept. It's more of like they've taken this fun moment from their stream and they're putting it out there. So they'll use their face in those videos. But anything that is more sort of like anything that it's made more specifically for YouTube, like specific content idea, specific concept, they will go for like a crafted thumbnail without their face or anything for more appeal.
I was going to ask as well, do you boys, when it comes to Twitch, you know how at the top, if you're offline, you can do a channel trailer, right? You can go there and you see the channel trailer. Do you use it? And if so, do you think that it works? Do you think that it's not a big thing? Like if you were a viewer and you're going to somebody's channel, do you think it's easier that, there is a pop-up of a trailer, or do you just go to their VODs or whatever it is?
My hot take is it doesn't matter in the slightest unless you have a channel like I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you're offline as a streamer, no one's going to your channel.
Yep.
Like that's just a hard fact of it, right? But like for me, for example, I know that I get around 3,000 clicks a month from SSN directly to my stream.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's something I should care about. But you probably think, Eljay, you don't have a channel trailer, which is true. I do not. And the reason I don't have one is because I think that one of the big problems I have with channel trailers is that I think a lot of creators have these channel trailers and they never update them. And it's like, if I had a channel trailer, it would be old within a few weeks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I just do different things now. It's not really what my vibe I'm going for. And I kind of feel like I'd rather people drop by and see my VOD, my latest VOD, or what I've been playing recently, or my clips and stuff like that. Because, I don't know. I understand the appeal of them, but I also just don't think they're as valuable as people make them out to be. Because most people who have them, they don't have any kind of external funnel.
Yes, correct. I was just wondering because I just got asked, then about like, do you have a channel trailer, which is around 30 seconds. And I think I don't for that very reason, Eljay, is because my stream, I like to think changes in terms of what I'm playing, what I do, the kind of look and the vibe of it. And I'm wondering if that's more of a deterrent to the fact that I'm thinking too much about it and just anything to show kind of what my concept is may draw people in if they, for some reason, do go on my channel when it's offline, or if it's just more of a hassle than anything else that's not really going to pay dividends at the end.
Hot take. I also think a lot of channel trailers are annoying as fuck when you go to someone's channel if they're offline.
Yeah.
You go to someone's channel when they're offline and suddenly you're being yelled at by it's like the old MySpace days, right? Like I feel like I go to so many content creators who normally their stream is like, hey man, how you doing? It's me, I'm X creator. We're playing X games today. Oh yeah, no, I'm doing that. Yeah. No, I really enjoy this. Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying playing fucking Breath of the Wild today. And then but if you went there when their channel trailer was on, it's like, hello Hello, everybody. It's me. I'm here today to show you my best clips. And then it's like hard to, it's like 20 different cuts of 20 different clips of them going, ah! And it's like, fucking shut up. You know, like your stream isn't like this. Your stream is 6 hours of you quietly sitting there every now and then cracking a joke. You know, like it's like, why are you trying to show us and act like this is always the hype moments when in reality it's like,
Yeah.
hey, thanks for the sub, Harrison. Wow, I didn't expect that to happen.
I absolutely agree with you. However, I will toot my own horn here and say that my channel trailer, at the very least, is a very decent representation of my channel, because it's just like there's every now and then there's like memes are happening, there's shit going off the chain, and so mine is I'd say it's a decent representation of everything that goes on.
I think again, anyone can do whatever they want as well. By the way, this is all just opinion based, right? And I here's the thing. I also know the longer I'm in this industry, the less I'm probably the key demographic for most streamers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I find that like one of the few streamers I actually watch is Out Reapz. And I don't even know, this isn't an insult to you, but I don't know if I'd even watch you unless I knew you.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because I know you, right? So it's more fun for me to troll you because I know you, right?
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't have stumbled across you and hung out and stuff like that otherwise. You know what I mean? Both just from Discovery's point of view and probably just because of my own short attention span. Because the content I like to absorb is usually just far more edited and produced, right? Like I like watching abroad in Japan.
That's right.
You know?
Yes, exactly. And I think a lot of people need to distinguish that, is that when you come to streaming and videos, they're two completely separate freaking things, because, you know, as you said, one's tight, to the point, edited, high production value. Well, I think we can all agree that when it comes to streaming, it's basically just a hangout place more so than anything else. Like you can do those big shows as we've talked about, like as like Mogul Money or things like that. Or at the moment, I think Mizkif is doing Camp Canute, where it's basically just like working out every day, which is great. But honestly, I think a lot of viewers come there to hang out with other members of the community and have it as background noise or just something that's kind of going on without having to pay 100% attention. Although there are people who do, and I thank them because they're the ones that type in the chat. I'm like, thank God that I've got something to bounce off. But yeah, when it comes to that, it really is just, I watch YouTube more than I watch Twitch. And that's just the state of it, because as you said, I like more highly produced stuff. I like things that are only 10 minutes. And even though I'll watch the same amount of, say, Twitch compared to YouTube, it's got that great algorithm at YouTube where it's easier to, it's more palatable, I should say, to watch 10 things that are 10 minutes long than one thing that's like 2 hours long or whatever it is. I find that much more digestible. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just how you look at it.
I also don't have time.
Yeah.
I also just don't have time to sit down and watch an entire stream for like a good hour, let alone 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably thinking like, but Eljay, you probably watch more YouTube than that every single day. And it's like, yeah, but I can also just close a YouTube video and go about doing other stuff or be interrupted and pause it and stuff like that. Whereas you just can't do that on a stream, right? Like, you know, like I wanted to watch you play Toilet Chronicles Reapz and I was like, fuck, I just gotta leave. I was like, I just gotta leave, you know? And I missed like half of what you were doing. I saw you, you know, get carried and cheat. But like, but I had other stuff I had to do. So
yeah,
I guess it's just in my head. I'm just like, I look at streaming and I go, yeah, I'm probably just not the key demographic. And I think that honestly, I think it's happened to Harris Heller as well.
Yeah.
Right? I think Harris Heller started out streamer.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh shit, I'm really not the key demographic for this. And I'm too busy and I like all this other stuff.
Yep.
And he just like switched it up and went, I'm doing 3 days a week and I'm doing these other projects. And it just feels like the bigger you get, the less you are, but also the less time you spend on Twitch as a streamer of our size, as someone who watches, engages, chats in other people's things and stuff like that, the harder it is for you to grow as well.
Yep.
Like I find there are whole communities where the whole reason they've grown is because they just spend so much time networking in each other's chats. And it's like,
I can't do it.
I don't have time. I really don't have time to like they're obviously all friends and stuff like that, but like I have no idea how they find the time to do that, right? Like I can't have a stream on while I'm editing.
No.
I can't have a stream on while I'm doing meetings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
hard.
wish I was better at collaborating with people. I wish I was better at networking when it comes to other streamers and stuff. And it's just a skill that I know that comes down to time management, because the only way that you're going to feel like you're part of community if you're there a lot longer and you can be engaged in texting and stuff. But honestly, for me, I simply do not have the time at the moment, and it sucks. But it's also that thing of like, I get more, I guess, I I don't know the right word. I just feel more proud when I'm doing my own things and putting it out there. You know what I mean? Like I can do the whole thing of, really sucking up to other streamers and becoming a part of a community, and hopefully, there's this thing of like rating and stuff like that. But I feel in terms of just pure intelligence and smartness when it comes to trying to grow a brand, it's doing stuff for yourself on different platforms that can make you get that foothold in it, rather than just, as we've talked about in the past, just being on Twitch and just doing Twitch things. Because again, to be found is such a different measure, because as Eljay says, which I think a lot of people can agree with, you watch the streamers that you watch the streamers that make you feel comfortable, and you never really diverge from that unless they leave or you change priorities.
Or they raid and they just have this big raid train of like friends that are all friends together and they're all networked, right? Like it's like it's really, really interesting is that if you went through and looked at someone like What If Julia, and then you looked at What If Julia's entire chat, and you looked at like Julian's entire chat, you'd probably find there's like 90% overlap, right? Like they're just like, and that's not me saying that one of them grew off the other. It's just that they have the same audience that is just kind of connected through that and stuff. And I think there are a lot of content creators like that, which I really hope people don't take that as a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. No. I'm just saying that like when you're only a Twitch streamer, usually one of the biggest ways they grow is from joining communities like that and having so many friends, and they just network and do all that stuff together. And that's always been my biggest failure is like, I just have no personal way to connect and engage with people like that, because I'm just either too busy or I've just never really found people that I really click with.
Yeah.
You know? Like I it just like flows really, really easy with.
Yeah.
And it's just hard, I find, but that's just a big way that people grow on Twitch. And if you can't do that, I do think you hamper yourself.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, it really is that thing of like, and it's hard to also get that connection. I'm not sure if you feel the same, Nick. It's kind of like you go into another person's stream and you feel like, okay, they're a good sort and everything like that. But in terms of that connection to the next level of like, how do I network with them? How do I collab and all this stuff? It really is like a big... I don't know. For me, it's a big obstacle. I find it very hard to do that. I wish I was better at it, because I think I could have grown exponentially more. But I just know that I don't have that skill that other people seemingly have. And maybe it's something I can learn. But again, my focus is solely on doing outside ventures that are not on Twitch that will hopefully, pay more dividends because of it.
Yeah, so that was, and I think we've all kind of said like we wanted to sort of dip our toes into like more collabs going forward, just a little bit more often than when we were doing them. But and that was, it's to say, I definitely feel the same as well. Like, I mean, a lot of my channel is enveloped around, how I interact with the audience, right? We have the pop-ups, they have ways to interact with the stream, right? And doing a collab, it's friction to that, right? In some cases, some cases it works fine. But in a lot of cases, it can add a bit of friction to what I've sort of established as like the main sort of content. But it definitely gets like that a lot, where it's like I get to a point where it's like, no, I actually would like to do a collab. I want to collab with this person, and then you think to yourself, or would they really want to collab with me? Do I have anything to offer them? So like that little bit of imposter syndrome kind of sits in. It's like, no, they wouldn't want to do anything with me. It is just
little old me.
Yeah. So yeah, that does settle in a lot. From times when I have been asked, I've been really happy to do it, because I think it's not only good for you, but also like it's fun for your audience, because they get to see something different. Yeah, it might be a little bit of deviation, but it's not like you're not changing up your entire content. You're just like, everyone's very well informed. Like, hey, he's doing it. He's doing something different. He's doing a collab stream with someone else, compared to like, oh, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh streamer. Now I only play Animal Crossing, right? It's like, it's not, it's a bit different. And even like a lot of the audience of community members have said that like they do enjoy those collab streams, because there's just that interesting dynamic where they just kind of get to what, like they're sort of more, even though more people tend to lurk, they're more engaged because they're watching and listening to all the chaos unfold. This Friday, I've got playing Labyrinthine with Walker, Lonely Shark, and Luigi, which I'm really excited about. And like I don't do well with horror games. Basically, I'm pretty sure they only want me because they just want someone who hates getting jump scared and to scream. So
It's a fun game. It's a puzzle game as well. So you'll do well at the puzzles, Nick.
Excellent. I've only got 2 brain wrinkles, so I don't think that'll go well either. But yeah, like I was like, they asked and I was like, absolutely, I'd love to. Like it's all like, I think it also comes down to like what you've been saying, Eljay, with like just taking streaming a little bit less seriously, like being open to more of those opportunities and just seeing what happens. So yeah, like there's only good can really come from it, really. So
you hope. You hope only good can come from it. Yeah. But I guess, sorry, Eljay, go on.
I was going to say, I think it's just one of those things. I think this has been an interesting pod, but I think that one of the things for me that I've said 6 times so far, I think that a lot of people should do 2 things with streaming.
Yep.
And that is probably not take it so seriously in general, right? And that's one thing I learned reading some of the SSN comments recently. I kind of sat down and I was reading through some of this stuff properly because I'm putting together a video on my side channel where it's about how I'm reading hate comments. And it's not just hate comments, it's going to be funny comments as well. And I just realized that people take it super seriously. And I was like, yeah, I don't want this to be the case. You know, like the most fun I ever had was when I wasn't taking streaming so seriously, you know? And I've really taken a step back, and my daytime stream will allow me to kind of reset my vibe and what I'm aiming for. And I think that also another big thing was, I think I took community building really, really seriously. And I think it did really well. But I also think to a degree, I kind of made it hard for new people to become members of the community. I think some of the ways I made people feel special made others feel less special. You know what I mean? And so one of the things I want to do, 2 of the main things I want to do with my stream, my content over the next, with this big change is I want to make it so that I'm taking it a lot less seriously. And I want to make it so that everyone feels equal, you know? And that's a whole different conversation. But I think that some of the ways that I've built community have led to new users being much more difficult for them to join in or understand memes or to really just feel like they can talk and understand what's going on, you know? Because I know so many of my night chat by name, right? And there's all regulars and they've been sub for 26 months and they've all got VIP badges. And I had this realization the other night. I was streaming and we'd had super active chat and everything like that and everything. I looked over and I realized my entire chat had VIP badges. There was about my entire list on the side of the screen was all fully VIP badged up. And I kind of thought to myself, would that be intimidating? And I went around and kind of asked, I asked my community heralds and I asked my mods and I asked a few other streamers, and pretty much it came back that they were like, yeah, any other chat, that would have been intimidating for me. Even the people with the VIP badges were saying to me, when I'm in other chats, if it seems like they're really close-knit and intensely a thing, it's very hard for me to chat.
That's a really good point. I think that people don't really realize that there is gatekeeping in streams. I know that I've experienced points where, people have come in, and if some of the regulars don't feel like they fit into the vibe of the channel, it can be to a detriment that they kind of extradite them to a degree where they just kind of they ignore them or they don't bring them in. But luckily that's happened very, very few times. And I would like to say that my community is very open to everyone.
Yours has never had this issue.
Yeah. I should definitely say that. But there have been moments of when you think about the VIP, because I've also had mods in the past who have been very protective of me to the extent where they think that the person is insulting me when they're in fact teasing me. I can tell the difference, or I like to think that I can tell the difference. And that has drawn a lot of people off because they feel like they can't even make jokes because of the actions of, say, a mod or a VIP or something. So I think you raise a very good point to all the new streamers out there or small streamers, because you will probably mod your friends or you will mod people who were first in the stream. And because they feel that they have this extra privilege and they were there from the start, they may get that overprotective kind of barrier to them, which is never a nice thing when it's your first time in somebody else's stream. So it's just something to think about.
Speaking of too, since they finally re-released the founder badge management, you're going to see a lot more of those first badges in streams too, which is just going to add to this as well.
Yeah,
I went through and removed a bunch of the founders who haven't shown up in like a really long time. Like if someone's active but they're not subbed, I didn't remove it, right? My whole thought was if they haven't been active in a very long time, then I'll remove it. But if they've been active but they haven't subbed, then I see that as it's a financial thing. It's free content. They're still supporting me by being here. I'm not going to remove it, right? But I went through and I removed a bunch of them. And while I was doing it, I kept thinking to myself, wow, there's a lot of people who are still very active.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was very happy about that. So I want to make sure people listening to this don't think I'm saying that I don't like my community or that I'm not happy with how it's turned out. I actually adore it. I think it's amazing how tight-knit and everything like it is. But like a really important thing to me is, as someone who's never really been able to find his people, I find that I can imagine what it's like a lot easier than I think some people would, right? Because I've joined streams on like my alt account and I've like tried to talk to people or join in on conversations. And if you're not really a part of it, you can just be completely ignored, even in like really slow chats. You know what I mean? Because they're just reading out purely the mods or purely the subs or the VIPs and stuff because they're the active ones and they're the ones there. You know, and it's fine. No streamer has to read out your messages.
No.
Right? But one thing about Reapz' chat that I think is amazing is how welcoming everyone is to like every new person who joins. You know what I mean? Like everyone gets waved and introed, which could be a little intimidating, maybe. I don't know.
But it's a cult, man. I make sure we all drink the Kool-Aid.
I'd like to think that does go, it'd be more beneficial than not. Like, for someone who's taken that chance to type into a chat to immediately be greeted by, other people in the chat. Like I do, like that does, I would like to think, and I definitely feel, good and like when that, if I've gone into a chat for the first time and that's happened. So it's from that mentality, that's the same thing we've tried to do, with my community. It's like, if someone comes in, it's like, let's greet them in, let's welcome them. Like I'm obviously going to welcome every single person coming in too, as much as I can. But, if anyone that I miss, at least, one of the mods has like still said hello, or someone in the, one of the regulars has said hello at the very least. Because there's we're really starting to build a lot of those like something we talked about like podcasts ago, like creating, what's the word, like routines, like habits, like chat habits, so like, everyone's really, like a lot of people say hello to new people coming in. Whenever a raid comes in, like even the regulars and like semi-regulars will put, the raid hype command when a raid comes in, right? It's like we've built those, those chat habits, which has been really good and it's been fantastic. So, but I definitely can see that other side that you're talking about, Eljay, where it's like they're just really afraid seeing and intimidated with all these people in the chat. Whereas a lot of people don't realize that
most people on Twitch are not exactly the most confident.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I know exactly
I talked to Breezy, who's a member of my community, and I was like asking like, do you think it's intimidating? And they were like, yes, but it wasn't hard for me because that's not who I am. But most people would struggle probably. Sorry, Nick, keep going.
That's right. And because most people would either just outright refuse or they'd be so hesitant, like they'd have to really work up to actually just putting a message and saying hello. Whereas, we all do a really good job of trying to make our communities as welcoming as possible. They'll never know that if they do put in a message that they are going to get immediately said hello to by someone in chat. They'll never know that until they actually type. So it's like that barrier. They just have to get over that first hurdle. Just for make them feel welcome and comfortable. But it's a really tough thing to balance, like creating a good community that also won't make it intimidating for someone to come in and say hello.
Yeah, I just think it's like, I think my big moment of wow, I wonder if this is intimidating was because I've always said to people, if someone joins and the most active 4 or 5 people are mods, that does feel a little bit weird, and we've all agreed that's a little bit weird, right? But then when I saw so many VIP badges, I was like, does that have the exact same weight of intimidation behind it? And to a degree, I actually think it does. You know what I mean? It feels so tight knit, especially if the entire community is like talking to each other, right? Like not really engaging necessarily directly with stream and stuff like that. Like kind of like other conversations are happening and stuff like that. it can be super intimidating. When I first found What If Julia, I was really, really intimidated to talk in her chat. It seemed like there was no way that I was going to be able to like talk whatsoever. And there was this moment in What If Julia's chat. I still watch What If Julia. I just lurk though. There was this moment in What If Julia's chat where I'd watched her for weeks, right? And I'd only chatted once or twice, engaged a little bit here and there. And she was playing Stardew Valley, which is like one of my all-time favorite games. And she was talking about how she wanted to get to the bottom of the Skull Caverns, or really low in the Skull Caverns, which is like 100 or 130 floors or something like that. And she kept saying, she said to chat, I wasn't really paying attention. And she said, what do you guys think? Should I just take a bunch of bombs and try and just like bomb my way through the Skull Caverns? And I was thinking to myself, yeah, that's a good idea. That's the strategy. Also take some stairs, you know, in my head. And she goes, oh, what do you guys, like she just kind of repeated her exact phrase again. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I kind of kept going. And she kind of just, again, repeated it, but a slightly different. And I was like, what's happening? And I looked over and she kept saying, she was saying all this stuff. And not a single person in her very active chat had acknowledged her sentence whatsoever.
Yeah.
They weren't talking at her. They were just talking to each other, you know, all super close knit. And again, this isn't me, any kind of criticism whatsoever, right?
No.
But it's just talking about like some of that intimidation sometimes. And I wrote in chat, I think that's a really, I think I wrote the words, bombing your way through the Skull Cavern ? Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I also used stairs, you know? And a moderator timed me out and pinged me and said, don't backseat. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was like, cool. And I just didn't go back to her stream for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was just like, that was the like one of the 3 or 4 times that I'd be willing to like actually engage with someone. And I only did it because they were openly trying to get engagement from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
You know? And and suddenly I was smacked down and I thought to myself, man, that took a lot, right? For me to chat. And I just feel like I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. And I don't think I've chatted in her chat since.
Yeah. Understandably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
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 I just think it's interesting to think about like how we work so hard to create these communities. And sometimes it's very hard for a new person to be involved.
I think you've raised a really good point as well in terms of I've had times in my Discord where my mods have actually pinged me and said, yo, Reapz, we're going to need some updated rules because you're a bit wishy-washy on these certain things, right? Like, you know, things where it's an insult or whether it's teasing. And so I had to write out kind of, this is what I want the community to be. And this is how I want you to view things. If I don't say anything about it, that means it's fine. If I say something about it, that means it's not fine. You know what I mean? So I basically had to write it out. And I think a lot of streamers can do that because you just forget that sometimes people don't actually know what you're thinking, even though it's the most obvious thing in the world for you that you want this person gone or you think the person, what they're saying is fine. Mods can't read minds, or neither can, you know, the community. So you really do have to have that open communication because you could have that position that you were in, Eljay, where it's like, oh, cool. This streamer is asking for feedback and I've got the feedback to hopefully, you know, bring attention to myself to go, this is what I would do and hopefully get some interaction there. And then immediately smacked down by a mod who probably wasn't paying attention to the fact that Julia did ask for said advice. And that's left like a bad taste in your mouth. And you don't want that. Like, I know that if I was in that same position, I'd be like, well, I don't really want to go back there because I'm obviously not feeling welcome, even though it's not Julia doing it. There's still these people who may, or however you perceive it, may be a little bit overprotective or just not paying attention.
I don't think it was necessarily like, there was nothing malicious in that entire situation. Like, it's just one of those things where I've been in that situation as a streamer where you're trying to like get the chat engaged and talk about things and the chat's kind of doing their own thing. And you're kind of like trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do here? And like, I want the activity, so I'm not going to tell them, hey guys, can you maybe just stop talking to each other and maybe we focus on the stream? Like, you know, because hey guys, maybe please focus on me, please. You know, like
look at me.
You're not going to
tell me I'm pretty.
You're not going to be that guy, right?
Yeah,
like,
no.
it just doesn't work.
No.
So like instead, you're kind of like, maybe I can just draw their attention back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I took the whole situation, right? Because she said it a few times, right? And I was like, man, I've been in this situation as a streamer. Maybe I'll try and like, I'm willing to jump in here because I want to do the same thing, right? And it was just such a strange exchange. You know what I mean? It was just such a strange exchange. And for someone who really liked that stream and really liked that streamer, but was nervous already to talk in said chat, because at the end of the day, let's be real, it is kind of hard to talk in streams chats, especially if you really like the streamer, because you don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be an annoyance. And
Yeah.
I think streamers tend to have that feeling more than normal chatters because we know how easy it is to fuck it up. But like, or throw the vibe off, you know? Like sometimes, Reapz, I'll watch you and I won't talk.
Really?
Right? And the main reason I won't talk when I'm in your stream is because I know the moment I say something, like 8 or 9 people will be like, hey, LJ, hey, LJ, hey, LJ, like blah, 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 blah. And I don't want your entire chat to go from like them talking to you to all of them just like talking at me. Because it's like, it feels bad, right? Like, it's like, I don't want Reapz to be in the middle of a joke in a bit and then be like, why is no one writing Keck W at my fucking hilarious bit? Oh, they're all just talking to LJ suddenly.
That's a very considerate thing for you to think of, but you don't have to worry. You could always say hi in my stream. They ignore me anyway, the pricks. So feel free to talk anytime.
But it's a thing, right?
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Like,
I get that feel, man. I get that feel as well. I've done that in other people's streams where it's just like, I want to take it away. And I also feel that sometimes when I have the partner badge on, I feel like I'm taking it away. So sometimes I take it off in other people's streams because I just want to be, part of the community more so. Because some people in the stream, like no matter what stream you're a part of, there are those people who see that badge who are part of the community and then just start asking you questions or like they click on your name and they ask you about your name and stuff. And it's like, as you said, Eljay, don't focus on me. I'm just saying hi, focus on what's going on right now because it just feels rude otherwise.
Hot take, I hate shout outs. I hate shout outs. All right. Because I find often when if I come into a stream and I just want to watch a stream, I don't want the streamer to be like, shout out to X person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, I'm sitting here in my jocks right now, in my underwear. Like I don't want all this attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to drop by. You know what I mean? I just wanted to be like, that's a funny joke. Keck W to Reapsy boy. Yeah. And then
I have a thing where it's like, I think I did a raid or something like that where I brought people across or I was across and they did the thing where they looked me up live on stream. And I can understand why they did it, right? But I felt so uncomfortable because I think they had a button where they play it and it plays one of your clips. Yeah. And this clip was from like 4 years ago. So it wasn't my actual self now. It was me and I'm like, whoa, dude, please, this is the worst example of me and my channel. Please do not do this to me. You're killing me here. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of strange. I think essentially, I don't know. I don't know if the problem I have is that I just haven't found my place on Twitch.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I've been solo for so long now.
Yeah.
Maybe I have all these issues because I just haven't found a place where I vibe out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I think most streamers our size have like a core community of like 10 to 12 or more people who they're all friends with. You know what I mean?
Like, are we talking other streamers or are we just talking people in our community?
Well, like other streamers, right? Okay. And maybe I just have all these issues because I've just never really found my kind of vibe where like a bunch of people who are all in the exact same, like similar humor, similar content and all do similar things and stuff like that. So maybe that's why I'm kind of weird about shout outs and gatekeeping and or accidental gatekeeping and stuff. I don't know.
You're still on the journey to find your own place.
Honestly,
I guess something like that.
I don't really have like a core group of streamers that I'm really tight with. I've got people that I like, but I wouldn't say that I'm tight with them, apart from outside, the podcast that we do here because we talk a lot. We post a lot in the Discord and stuff about ideas and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm in the same boat and I would like to do it more. Again, it's a skill that I just have not learned, although I want to be part of more communities and stuff like that. But we probably should move on to the question of the week as we're nearing the 2-hour mark, unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about before then. No.
If you are in someone's chat and you see someone new talk, just be welcoming.
Yeah.
You know what?
You don't have to derail everything. Just be like, hey, welcome in.
Little wave emote at the person.
Yeah.
I think that's a really powerful thing to do is just make someone feel a little bit welcome.
Yeah.
Right before you call them a dickhead and just start roasting them, or tell them to stop talking.
There is that sweet time when somebody just joins and you're nice to them. It's like a first date. You're just very cordial. And then when they become regulars, that's when you just start swearing at them and they swear back
get the
at
VIP
you.
badge.
Yeah. That's right. That's where the abusive relationship begins.
Definitely.
My mods have to they've sort of learnt now, and sometimes they'll just outright ban stuff, but sometimes when a troll comes in, they'll put like a trolly comment. They're just being a dick, and they know to like wait like 5 to 10 seconds to let me like troll the person back before they just remove the comment. They're like, yeah, Nick's gonna just like roast this person, and then we'll just move on. So then sometimes I'll be like, nah, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
But yes, so we have a question from 2Player Mode Forever that says, great, from a little bit ago, great to hear all your updates from your times off. Super curious how your viewership actually is compared to what you feared it would dip to after your time off. If it was a big dip, how much did it come back as the week progressed? Hopefully it's not as bad as you predicted.
Funnily enough, when I got back from my honeymoon, my viewership for that first week popped the fuck off.
Yeah.
Like it popped the fuck off of people being like hyped to have me back. Like I was in like 130, 140, 130, 140 for all these content ideas and stuff like that. And then I was still sick. I was busy. I was stressed and tired and stuff. So like then my consistency fell away. So it's like, it's funny, right? Because like telling people I'm going to be gone from X dates and then being gone for those dates and coming back does good almost for your viewership sometimes, you know? But then on the other side of things, if you are like, I'm going to be live these days and you don't match that, it's really bad for your viewership. So it's really, really interesting that like I struggled a little bit on one regard, but I had a lot of success in the other regard. And I think people wouldn't have cared about those inconsistencies and those times away had I just been more clear and open about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I hadn't have tried to, after coming back from streaming, if I hadn't have tried to push through with that consistent schedule, if I just been like, guys, I'm really sick, I'm back for 3 days in these time slots and that's it, they would have been super chill. My viewership wouldn't have tanked, would have done anything, you know what it is. If I just been consistent, it would have been gone good. Because my time away taught me that as long as there's something to keep you in people's minds, you know, like a Discord or a YouTube channel, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm very much of the approach that I don't really care about numbers. I don't really even look at numbers these days. And that may be, you know, people going, how can you not look at numbers? For me, it's just a personal choice where it's like, I'm doing the best that I can do. And no matter what, as much as I can wish the numbers were better, I don't really see, especially when it comes to streaming, how I can make that better. Because I know there's always going to be the bell curve. I'm going to start stream, more people come in, more people come in, more people come in. Start playing a game, it goes down because, you know, people are going to bed and whatever like that. So when I came back, it's more just like a feel of how many people were in the chat engaging with me, more so than actually looking at numbers. But there's always going to be a downtime where if you say you're away from X date to X date and it's not like a month or something, you'll probably come back to more people, but there may be times we can come back to less people. And I guess the question was about the dips and like how long it took you to go back on. As Eljay says, there's nothing you can do apart from being consistent, right? You can try and do big events or anything like that and see if that basically combats lower numbers because you've done a big event, you're hyping it up or whatever. But as you said, if you take a day off where you normally stream and don't give people a kind of heads up or a Twitter or a tweet rather, something like that, then yeah, they're going to fall away because the worst thing you can be when it comes to streaming is not consistent and just stream whenever you feel like it. Because again, people don't know. And if they don't see for say a month or something, they may just be like, oh, I'm just going to start watching this other person. They're more engaged with them. So yeah, in terms of taking time off, please take time off. I think you may be asking the fact of like, should I be taking a break if it's going to cause a big dip that I can't recover from? You can recover from any big dip. You can take a year off and come back and still you'll be down to minuscule numbers, but you can always make your way up for the fact that you've already done that in the past. It just matters on how you do it and how you stay consistent.
Yep. Basically it. Like you will, you know, some people can come back from a break and barely anything will change, which is great. Like best case scenario. But realistically, the dip comes from, you know, you've obviously let your audience know as much as possible that you're going to go on this, you're going to take this break. So when you come back, right, people will need to relearn that you're basically back. Even though you said I'm only gone for a week, it's going to be a slow increase, just people relearning that, that's right, so-and-so's back now. And now I know that like at this time and these days that like they're going to be live again. So it's just like, it's basically some of the audience loses the habit, and then they just need to. So you just need to rebuild the habit. But the idea is that you're gonna we've talked about it before. It's gonna happen, so don't stress about it. I don't look at my numbers too much either. I will. The only time I really look at my numbers, I'll look at sort of like my the Stream Elements emails, like a little graph, basically like over time after a stream, and that's the only one I'll really sort of pay attention to. I just want to see sort of how quickly people came in, how compared to how I felt throughout the stream. Whereas like I was like, oh, maybe in chat felt a little bit quieter tonight. But then I'll look at the graph and the numbers were a bit stronger than I thought. So just to kind of, I don't pay too much attention. It's basically just like a little sort of indicator for how the night was going overall, and then I just kind of basically forget about it and move on. So it just depends how much weight you put into that number, and realistically, you shouldn't be putting that much weight into that number. You should be focusing on what you're actually doing.
Yep, agreed. I mean, there's always going to be dips, as you said, especially now. But at the end of the year, I think we're going to see it start peaking again for obvious reasons. And the best thing to do is really just commit, do what you can. And as we said throughout this whole freaking podcast, is know what platforms are going to do that for you, and don't just grind away at Twitch hoping that'll get better, because so many things have got to fall into place for you to pop off, more so than other platforms. Yeah,
it's interesting. I don't know. I find it really interesting. I think a lot of people will hear what I'm saying and they're going to think it's like a YouTube versus Twitch debate, when that's not really what I'm trying to go for in this episode.
No.
When I was trying to talk about stuff, I think people will take it as that, but it's really not. It's more just like, think about your long-term goals and your long-term priorities and make sure they match, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and I think a lot of people's long-term goals don't match what they're putting most of their hours into. And that's something that I've failed at a lot. And I try and make sure I remind myself with little check-ins, every 6 months, like, hey, what were your goals again? Are you meeting those goals?
Yeah.
It's just hard. It's just tough. I think a lot of people struggle with it. Like some guy commented on one of my videos recently being like, no, I don't watch any streamers. And I was like, but you want to be a streamer? Like, can you kind of break down why you want to be a streamer?
Yeah.
Because most of the time when I ask why do you want to be a streamer, they go, I just like content creation. I want to be a content creator. I'm like, well, if you don't watch anyone, how are you supposed to learn how to do it, right? Like, but this guy in particular, he kind of understood. He was like, I know it's backwards. I wouldn't be doing it otherwise, but I'm doing streaming to help me get better at presenting and talking, and I don't really care about the rest. And I was like, perfect, that's cool.
Yes, yeah, great.
But most of the time people reply and go, yeah, I just really want to be an influencer or a creator or gamer, and I figured this was the best way to do that. And it's like, well, not really. If you don't watch anyone or spend time on the platform, which is probably the big issue I'm having, to be honest, that I've got no time to spend on the platform these days when I used to be way more involved.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Well, Nick.
Easy done. Well, thank you for everybody for listening today. Boys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weeks. We will be reconvening next week. I don't know. I'm just got weird for a second. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Reconvening. I like this.
I just, my brain, like,
around the table.
I was spaced out for a second, and then you threw it to me, and I'm like, what the fuck am I meant to, what am I talking about?
You were the host this week. I had to throw back to the host.
Yeah,
it'll be rude of me.
Because Reapz has been getting fucking clowned on since we started this being a two-take Jake. So it's so funny watching, like, and when we did the intro at the start, you guys wouldn't have seen it, but when we did the intro at the start, we're like, all right, let's go. And me and Reapz got really quiet to let Nick do the intro. And Nick kind of like sat there for like a good 45 seconds just going, and then just started saying like, welcome. Would it be a welcome? Would it be this? So I was like,
just trying to get my brain in order.
And I was just like, man, I love it because we've clowned on you so much, Reapz, and it's so funny now.
Getting just desserts because we got so comfortable just letting him do it. So now, like, we have to get like, shit.
I don't want to be rude. I don't want to stand on his toes.
The one time I've done it, I was perfect. You wait, watch next week. Next week, I'm gonna destroy it again, and I'm gonna keep crushing it. And it's just we're good.
Yeah. I got something to before we Nick does the sign off. Is if you would like to see us do any guest spots. We've had some amazing people in the past. Please let us know what you're more interested in. Is it the content creation side? Is it maybe the statistics behind Twitch and YouTube? Is it more the people at the forefront who are actually doing it day in and day out? Who would you like us to actually interview? Well, I shouldn't say interview, but kind of share a podcast space with, so they can kind of give their hot takes, which may be completely different to our own, with some oversights that we have not seen. Let us know in the freaking comments. I would love to scroll through them and see who's topping the leaderboards there.
Yeah, please do. And again, drop comments, please. We would love your comments. We want to answer your questions. Again, like I said, we obviously, as Reapz mentioned earlier in the podcast, we've been had some pre-recorded podcasts, so we weren't able to get to questions as quickly. But we're back. We're consistent. We want to answer your questions, so drop them down below. If you've got ideas for topics you want to think like, yeah, I want the boys to talk about this thing. Let us know. Let us know.
Yeah.
It could be anything. You want us to talk about hentai? Freaking let us know down in the comments. All right, just let it.
I'm busy for that episode.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. What is that? Uwu-chan has other things to say about that though. Was it your Discord bot? I don't.
Cutie Chan. Yeah, that's right.
Cutie Chan.
Jesus.
My God.
Hey, guys. Hey, Nick. Are we dropping frames?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, we're dropping frames.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening to the podcast. We will see you all next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.